everybody.
How we doing?
How y'all doing? Hey, Silent Troll. Hey, Mac B. Hey, Barbara Walters. Yeah, we're a little late too because we tried to eat dinner in enough time and get the kids watching a movie, getting ready for bed. But you know how parenting is. We're always late for everything.
Always late.
We're always
every
late
single thing
for
ever.
everything. Yeah.
It didn't used to be like that.
Yeah, I know.
That's all right though. I don't think anybody cares.
Yeah. Hey, concerned citizen, for the love of horses. How y'all doing tonight? Jane J. Don't recognize you. That's not something we know anything about, Jane J.
Even if I did, I probably wouldn't want to talk about it. But
Right.
we don't know anything about it anyway.
Right. It's kind of weird. Everything's weird around all these characters here lately. All right. Some people coming in.
Yeah. Oh yeah, we already got people in. Cool.
Yeah. Late award.
I guess that's what happens when you actually promote your live more than 10 minutes beforehand.
Yeah,
Cool.
exactly. I think I scheduled it about an hour. Well, we didn't know what time we could go on. You know, it's hard to plan lives when you have 5 kids and, you know, they have friends, teenagers especially, with teenager friends stopping in, and it just gets a little complicated. Yay, Joe Solo's here. You finally caught a live. All right. Well, this live is to address some things that are being said online and stuff like that. But more importantly, we wanted to address a question that we had during our last live about what we thought about the situation with Jimbo being, well, I think they even said 15-year-old. And at the time, we did not know any details about it. But to be honest, if a 15-year-old is with a 17-year-old, I don't really have much of an opinion on that. I mean, that's kind of high school stuff there. 15-year-olds and 17-year-olds definitely get together. And, you know, and it's definitely weird if a state would allow a 15-year-old to get married, but because of new information that we found out about the whole situation, we believe we needed to address it. We do not at all in any way condone that kind of thing at all. And I'm not really sure what's going on here. Like, so how did people just find that out all of a sudden, you know, after all this time that everybody's like digging up fake skeletons out of people's imaginary closets? Now all of a sudden this is being brought to light. Yeah, she was 12, hillbilly. It's awful.
When she got married, right?
Yes.
But she was 10 when she was pregnant, or 9 when she was pregnant, and then had the baby at 10.
Yep.
Right. Or something.
That's what they're saying.
And she did have the baby. Thank you. She did have the baby.
I think so. Yes.
So there's a baby.
Yes.
Out there.
Yeah, I'm just finding out about all these details today. Hey, Magnum BI. Hey, Kendra. So.
Yeah. Well, it's pretty weird, especially for somebody who gets up there and, you know, pretends to be after pedophiles. I mean, 17, I know is under 18, but still, that's a significant age gap for children.
Right.
I mean, for adults, it doesn't really matter, but for little kids, yeah, absolutely.
Well, I have a lot of questions too. Like, I mean, how did people hang out with him and not see him as a predator when he was
that age?
When he was 21 years old with what? 14? Wouldn't she be 14?
Well, I mean, they were
17,
broken up by
18.
then because
15. Oh yeah, they were
the next one was when he was 19 and she was 15. It's a different girl. Is that his wife now, or is that somebody
That's his
else?
wife now.
Oh, okay. And I guess I don't know. I've heard all kinds of things, so I don't know exactly which thing is true. I've heard that the first wife was just a week-long marriage. Is that?
No, I think I saw 13 months.
Oh.
Was when they divorced.
Well, either way, it's messed up.
Oh yeah, everything about it's messed up. But it's really messed up for people to act like it's okay.
Yeah, it's not normal.
It's very predatory. And I have to say something about a 10-year-old that gets pregnant. Usually 10-year-olds haven't even started their menses yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, it's not in all cases. Some kids start early. There's, hormonal medications, hormones in the food, and all that causes that. But
that's early even for that stuff, though. That's like way early.
Yeah. Well, one of the study, or not one of the studies, but one of the signs, according to multiple studies, it's that a child will start an early juvenile menses that is being sexually stimulated.
Right. That makes sense.
And I'm very furious that we're even being associated with Jimbo to begin with, or connected to this, or being tagged in any of these posts in any way. We don't know Jimbo, and I guess people fail to understand that the only thing we know about Jimbo is he created a page just to try to destroy our family and our business. And what his motives are, still unclear to this day. We've never gotten apologies. All the videos are still up. The videos that he lied about our business, our kids, our family, like everything. It just makes me wonder what's really going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not okay if Ernie is making excuses for Jimbo.
Yeah, it's not okay for anybody to make excuses for that, regardless of who they are.
Yeah,
that's just not all right.
No,
YouTube or not.
No, and if that's the case, I mean, did Ernie know Jimbo when he was 17?
I don't know. I think maybe not quite that early, because what do they say? They've known each other like 20 years or something, they say. I don't know. I don't know. How old is Jimbo? So mid-40s.
Mid-40s. I don't know how old. Does anybody know how old Jimbo is? Anybody?
I'm sure someone does. But
Ernie said he had a child marriage too. Well, that's also something that we were not aware of. I have no words right now.
Yeah, this is all new to me. I don't really know much about either of those people's early history. It's a childhood, but that's not really childhood. It's just early adulthood, maybe.
Yeah. No, it's bad. It's all bad. And Jimbo coaches, exactly. Like, I mean, a lot of coaches have, sort of like a father figure kind of, relationship with the team,
It's a kid. I mean, they call them like my kids. These are my kids. When you talk about like a game or something,
I mean, did he share with those kids what he'd done?
I doubt it. Yeah. Not all.
Who is that?
Who do you think?
Benny?
Yeah. I want to talk to him, but not right now.
It's still going to ring in there. That won't matter.
I'll be right back.
Answer it. See what he has to say. Because I'll have to say, Benny, this is one of the very, very few times that I have to say that I agree with you on this matter. But then there's the other matter. And I do think that he exploited your daughter. And it's not right.
What up?
Mr. Xander.
You there? You hear me?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah. Can you guys hear him? You're on live. Okay.
Oh,
Don't
okay.
show the phone number.
I just really want to take a moment to applaud you for standing out against this. And I think that I know that it takes a lot of courage to even address this. And I'm really proud. I'm really proud of you guys. I'm not saying that you are involved in anything other, BS. I'm just saying I'm really proud to see this right now because it's for the victims.
Well, this is one of the few times that we do agree
like,
with you on all of this.
I couldn't be happier to say that I totally support what you guys got going on tonight.
Right on. I agree, man.
And that I owe you a big apology for being a real asshole. And I know that doesn't, but it is, this internet is strange for me in the way that when you see eye to eye with someone on a compassionate subject, like for me, like everything else melts away for me. You know what I mean? And I suppose it's probably not that way for you guys, but I do want to extend an olive branch and just say, man, I'm proud of you. And we agree to disagree on a lot of things, I know, but I can say that I want to go so far as to say, Mr. Xander, that I think that Ernie was instrumental in keeping this quiet. Ernie's known
you may be right about
time.
that. You might be right about that.
Kept this quiet from the whole world, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And now that it's out, you can even go look on Nicolina's. I know that there's bad blood there, and I get it. We all went hard for our own independent issues. You go look there. Ernie's even made a community post suggesting that he too married too young, a girl too young. I don't know what that is.
Oh, really?
But it is just very strange, and I do want to tell you that watching you guys, I listened, and I'll tell you what, Xander and Tina, you guys do know a lot of the signs and symbols. And I hate to say it, but a lot of the signs and symbols that you guys talked about, I see it all over Ernie and Jimbo now. You guys are right, man. And your awareness is, and it has been good for something. I want to tell you that. I've retained things that you guys have talked about opposite of Ernie, and I really have retained them, and I see those things you talk about now all over that situation. And I'm also here to verbally say that I don't believe or would stand behind. I would stand behind Predator Hunter Nation if anyone ever tried to say that Tina and Xander suppressed these things. You could never get me to believe that ever, ever, ever. I know that they stand out for children. In fact, they say all the time they battle with the police in order to try to get these laws changed so that what they do that they don't do online, they can actually get the prosecutions. And you know what I mean? You guys are doing awesome things. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. It was just I could sniff a fox in the hen house, and not saying that you couldn't, but it took a lot of work, in my opinion, in order for this to be suppressed like this.
Well, I appreciate that.
We appreciate you saying that. We do have our own issues with you that have nothing to do with the dramas. But you guys seem
better than I can tell you. I promise you that. I can show you better than I can tell you.
That's fair.
Anyhow, progress on. I don't want to take over your segment. I do appreciate you so much, even for giving me the platform to at least extend an apology to you, Mr. Xander and Miss Tina. And God bless you. And I hope you have an abundant fall.
all right. Well, thank you for the apology.
Hi, brother.
All right, brother. Bye-bye.
All right.
Well, that was interesting.
Yes.
But I agree with him. I agree with him on everything that he said about this that I saw today.
Yeah.
I don't sit and listen to any channel really, but anything that came across that I heard him say about the Jimbo situation today, I agree with it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's not surprising with Jimbo. I didn't ever realize how close Jimbo and Ernie were, but we didn't know Jimbo. It didn't really matter at all.
Right.
We met Ernie. We didn't have the same circles of friends, guys, at all. Like we were an alternate reality for Ernie's life. You know, he is around people who are around a lot of pills, but thinks that weed's a sin. It's like, it's backwards. It's so upside down, you know? And we just, you know, we just aren't those kinds of people that ran in his circles. And he doesn't know the first thing about drinking water being good for you, much less, you know, sound therapy and trying to be well without taking drugs. He didn't, you know, he didn't want to take drugs. So
Yeah, I appreciate these super chats, guys, by the way.
yeah, thank you guys. Wow.
That's awesome.
It is awesome. We don't get super chats much. But, you know, we're very confused about a lot of the things that are going down and a lot of the things that are being revealed, and why weren't they revealed before, and how can you be friends with someone who was a predator like that? I know it's in the past, but they still display very predator-like behavior in other ways.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like creating a channel to just try to destroy people trying to do a good thing. Like, why? You know?
Yeah, you always have to ask why, because there's just so much time and energy dumped into trying to knock down people that are trying to do something good and who aren't even really talking about anybody in particular.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so not that we haven't talked about people, you know, specifically, but there's been times when we're not doing that at all, and we usually don't. And yeah, people just want to come after us. And I mean, I'm not playing victim here or anything like that, but you just have to question why that happens. You know, what the motives are, what the agenda is.
Yeah, and why are all these different people that have past connected to all these different people, whether it be, you know, Matthew Kemper, whether it be, you know, the local Cosby trolls like my lady Priscilla or Jamie, they all have real life circles together, you know, but all of them want to just attack us, people that they don't even really know real life, you know.
And other people too, you know, other people have gotten attacked too.
Yeah.
That don't deserve it. It's the same thing. It's like, why?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, what was this collective effort against people who show predator-like behavior and who continuously get caught lying and, you know, flipping the story around and just making up stuff, you know? But that's, you know, that's mind control. We're seeing a lot of psychological operations going here. And whether people realize that they're participating or not, only they know the truth, you know. Oh my gosh, thanks guys. All the super chats.
Look how many people are in here.
I know, wow.
I guess that's what happens.
I guess that's what happens. You know, we try not to talk about people unless we're exposing them as a predator, and we're seeing a lot of predators that are now focus points in other channels' lives.
Mm-hmm.
And another strange thing I would like to bring up is, who is 616 Love? She is a mod for Jimbo, and she seemed to have known Benny's daughter since she was a baby, but hasn't seen her since she was a baby, which means probably around, you know, 2 years old. So how long has 616 Love known Benny?
And she's also a mod for Ernie too.
Well, she's the one who actually has control over Ernie's social media. So all you people sending stuff to Ernie, Ernie says that the admin that he made, Tiger's Eyes.
Tiger Eye. Well, I don't know if we should do that publicly because that's in the thing.
Anyways, we do know the admin, and he says that is scam 616.
Yeah.
So the number 9 is completion. Oh, there she is. Scam.
No. Hey.
Yeah.
No, not Cam and Alley. That's a different Cam.
No, it's Cam Bradshaw. She was a real life LARPer to us. She ordered a decal, and it's funny, a lot of our LARPing, like that entered our lives real life, whether it was through Ernie, or I guess they were all through Ernie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody who tried to act like they knew us or worked with us or were part of us, they all like worked their way through Ernie, and then fed a bunch of lies and stuff to Ernie, and then he just spew them out all over the place, and people would catch him, like telling not like he's lying, that he knew he was lying, but false leads, things like that. They all played Ernie. Not many people got away with infiltrating us, me and Xander, because we usually catch on pretty quickly to their games. Yeah, Cam Bradshaw is as Cam Bradshaw in here, but I definitely have private messages from you back when you tried to LARP our real life of who your YouTube name was.
Well, she said it was up here.
Oh, they're saying that it isn't.
She said what she... Here, I'll put the thing up. See?
That's not a picture of her at all. But, yeah, you don't look like that lady. Anyways, Michigan nurse. So many nurses that are so heavily involved with modding and trolling. You have to wonder why. They don't got people to take care of in the hospital. They're on here every day. They're modding for 2 to 3 different channels. Who are these people?
Did you send that link?
What?
Did you send that link?
No, Oh, yeah. I'm blocked in both of Ernie's channels. And all the mods that I still talk to say it was the 616 Love. And then I got some screenshots of people asking why I was blocked, of all people. And she said that Ernie said it last week, but then last week was when he was in the hospital, and it didn't make sense. And then somebody sent me a clip, because I don't even go over and watch Ernie's page at some point if I can't talk to people that I grew a little bit of an internet relationship with. So why sit there and not be able to talk in those chats? And you know what? I just don't understand why this person from Michigan has so much control over Ernie's page and Jimbo's page now that we're seeing what we're seeing about the cover-up of some predatory behavior. I think that, especially considering that some of these predators that we're seeing are obviously predators now, over time, they do these things that you can't really deny anymore. Like, you can't just make excuses, like, oh, maybe that's not what they meant. Or I'm sure they didn't mean it that way. It's like, okay, when it happens like 20 times, it's like, okay, maybe you did mean it that way. Maybe we don't know each other very well. But all these people are connected to the entertainment industry. Whether it be modeling, PR, Comic-Con Comic-Con's a big one. Big one. Those of you who know about Isaac Cappy, then you know that his story says that he realized that, there was some really sick pedowood kind of stuff going on in the Comic-Con industry. And that's what kind of inspired him to tell the truth about Hollywood and children.
Yeah, it's weird. A lot of the Comic-Con people end up to be predatory in some kind of way.
Yeah.
Not all of them.
No, not at all. I know
Yeah.
a lot of cool Comic-Con people that aren't being weirdos.
Yeah, I mean, Comic-Con itself is, depending on which one you're talking about, because Comic-Con isn't just one thing. It's a category of different events. But
Yes.
Usually there's speakers and booths and guests from like all kinds of different stuff. So it's not one area of expertise that you get people from there. But it is kind of a place where I don't know, people with a lot of what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know. People with a lot of personality have
Charismatic.
Charisma.
Yeah, charisma.
Have an interest in Comic-Con things and like wrestling, like professional or amateur wrestling. A lot of those characters are involved in Comic-Cons too. So I guess it attracts a certain type of person.
Mm-hmm. Well, and at the Comic-Cons, it's usually little kids, and they're all superheroes. They're X-Men or Marvel comic, or they're these kids' heroes, and then they throw in some Chuck Norris for the dad to enjoy.
Pretty much all the larger than life figures,
right,
are Comic-Cons,
right? Yeah,
I guess that's what the common theme is there.
Yeah, so it would be kind of easy to talent scout and for kids' roles and extras, which leads to the casting couch interviews and things like that.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the subject of Chris Lewis, who's in jail, and that's who was he the manager at Dog the Bounty Hunter?
I heard a couple of different things. He might have been. He was either manager or security for him.
He may have been security.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Or manager of security, something like that.
I don't even remember at this point.
Yeah. So that guy, he had a talent agency, come to find out. And that's the guy who really started a lot of this against Predator Hunter Nation, because of that whole PPP loan fraud and, all that murder for hire stuff. I mean, I don't know if Ernie was a part of that, if it was like him and Jimbo. And I don't think so, because Ernie was really hurt by this, and he's not that great of an actor, but he was really hurt when he found out that Chris wanted to have us all killed. First it was just Ernie, and then Jimbo, who was talking to Chris Lewis allegedly in these murder for hire things that Jimbo just conveniently said, "Oh, I was just playing, man."
Yeah, but then Jimbo, that the whole thing that I recorded, Jimbo was trying to, because allegedly, Jimbo was supposed to be the person who was finding a hitman for Chris Lewis to kill all of us, and so then Jimbo calls Ernie. And then Ernie and Jimbo are talking about Jimbo's trying to basically get some of the money out of it in the process. So he's warning Ernie in a way that this is all going down, but he's also trying to get a cut out of Chris Lewis's pay for the hit. It's all pretty weird. But But Jimbo definitely tried to take advantage of that situation financially, at least.
And all that's absolutely true. Like, we have no reason to lie about that.
Yeah.
You know,
It's definitely not something I would make up.
no, I mean, there's no benefit. There's no payoff. If people are making up stuff, there's usually some sort of payoff. But I mean, it really happened, and then he just gets to come online and say, "Oh, I was just joking. Like, I was just, trying to get my friends back together." Who does that? Like, hey, your buddy down here is going to kill you, and he's hired me to help. Like, can't we just all get along?
That's some twisted shit.
That's some Harlan County shit, I guess. I don't know. And then came Rodney King tapes, and then and I don't get it. I've heard awful things about Shelby outside of Ernie. I believe wholeheartedly he belongs in prison. I also believe wholeheartedly that he's a major trigger for Ernie, and I think that's why all that started, is just to trigger Ernie. Like, I really think that there was a point Ernie could have been like the best Ernie that he could be, but the past haunted him too much. And that's predatory. They were preying on Ernie all along, coming to YouTube, and I don't know. It just seems like a weird psychological game. A lot of psyopers. I mean, that Mandy Illuminati chick that I call Mandy Illuminati, Mandy C, she's an original Sandy Hooker, like straight out of Sandy Hook. Why are there so many crisis actors and like TV personalities surrounding all these people?
Yeah. A lot of TV stuff. Like I said, a lot of TV stuff, a lot of Comic-Con. I mean, yeah, they all go together.
I saw Larry in here saying, hey, did you see that?
I don't know, but I sent him a link if he wants to come up.
Oh, okay, so he's got a link.
I'm not sure he's going to come up for
He
this
said he's
kind of
having
thing.
technical difficulties.
Of course.
Well, I told him if he wanted to come up and talk about mind control through, television and programming and the entertainment industry being infiltrated with just groomers. They groom not only kids, but adults,
Right.
And I see like them grooming.
Yeah, that's funny.
What? Probably true.
Probably true. I don't know where it's at.
No, that's only recently true. The team of mods that are still with us are still with us. The ones that put in a lot of hard work and
oh no, we don't
love,
change mods
energy
much at all.
No,
Our trusted team of mods that used to overlap with Ernie's mods until he told everybody that you had to choose sides. But our trusted team has stayed pretty much the same for months. I mean, we've added and subtracted a few here and there, but not much.
No.
I think we're pretty good judges of character overall.
And to clear the record about all the crap that people say about Beloved Ghost getting unmodded, I think we've all seen Beloved Ghost has some seizure problems. Seizures are definitely induced by looking at screens. She's also a mod for 3 channels, and I didn't feel real comfortable giving her more responsibility of computer time anytime we go live, especially with our channels and lives being separated from Ernie completely. And we didn't really feel that it was good for her, like health-wise, to take in all these trolls all the time on all these different channels, so there was nothing personal.
Yeah,
What-
it seemed like a lot of the stuff that we were talking about too, and especially in the private chat,
I think,
was affecting her. So, you know, but
what did I see up here? I think that did Benny make his page Cam Bradshaw something? Like, what is that? Where'd it go?
I have no idea.
See, Benny would have answers for us about.
Benny,
I'm not Cam Bradshaw. 616 Love is
you
right. Right.
Yeah, he said he wanted to be unblocked on here.
I have nothing to say to Nicolina, and no, I will not unblock Nicolina.
No, I'm good.
Some of y'all have done like things that are unforgivable. That's we can't just make up and all get along. The things that you've done to our family, and you didn't even know us. So, and everything you thought you knew, all came out of Jimbo's mouth and Jamie's mouth, and who else? Jimbo and Jamie. Oh, Matthew Kemper. And Katina Diaz. I mean, my lady Priscilla. I mean, Tina Cornett. Yeah, that's who she is. Not necessarily the best judges of character. So there's Hawkins.
Do what?
Look, Hawkins.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Larry, do you want to come up?
Is it?
Here, add the
is it
stream.
on there?
I don't know.
There's not a thing.
There's not a thing.
The thing is not head. Try it.
Try it, see what happens.
Mm-mm.
There's no thing there. Oh, there he is.
No.
There's always technical difficulties when Larry wants to come up. Yes, I noticed very much how Jimbo tried to shut me up when Ernie got tased. And as a matter of fact, either Alicia 616 or Jimbo actually cut the other page's live stream because I was almost reaching him when I started talking about funny memories from the last 4th of July when he was freaking out about the circus tent, and then he started reading them, and I just saw that his face recognized something, that it could have been a turning point, but then the live was completely cut. I don't know if y'all noticed that. Oh, well, thank you, kitty cat. Oh, y'all are being so nice. I mean, I hope a lot of you guys are starting to see through the manipulation, because seriously, everything that's ever been said about me or Xander on here has been from people who have obviously proven time and time again that they're liars, and they have some sort
Go
of
out and come back in.
ill intent or motive. My lady Priscilla, you're not Katina. A few different sources told us that you were.
Don't believe everything
But,
you hear.
Can't believe everything you hear. Glad you've clarified that.
Where do you see that?
You sure act a lot like her.
Where do you see that?
Right here.
Oh.
Your name is Rhonda. You used to mod for Jimbo. Do you know Jimbo personally?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're a canard.
Do what?
She said I'm Rhonda Kennard.
Hmm.
Well, you sure have participated to a lot of bullshit against us and our family. And it's all been mind control. A lot, we're all victim to it now and again, and we believe things. Like we believe that Charlie was really bad as Mika. We believe that Dogman Charlie was this awful,
Used to.
evil guy. That's what the rumor was.
Believed.
Yeah.
Past tense.
Believed. But man, as soon as we met him, then just light shined out of him, and you knew his story was legit and real. So you can't believe fake news, and you especially can't seek to destroy people's lives or their business because you heard a thing from somebody that heard a thing that heard a thing. Like, and this stuff has gone real life. I mean, I'd talk to Benny if he wants to talk about being a living sin, or if he wants to. What else can we ask him about?
Well, pretty much all I want to know is about the dude who's in prison with his name and his tattoos. That's all I really care about.
I don't think we're going to talk about that yet. We're going to prepare for that live.
Okay.
Well, we don't have all the stuff to pull up.
I mean, he's already seen it all. We sent everything to him, and I mean, we've talked about it before. It's not like he's not going to know what we're talking about. But whatever, it don't matter.
Yeah,
I'd rather not talk about any of that shit personally. But yeah,
I mean, it's about hunting predators and exposing predators, And when you're seeing people in the YouTube streets acting like predators, it's hard not to talk about them. And, that's what we were discussing as a team today. It's like, well, just ignoring them, isn't making them wisen up. You kind of do have to come and say, well, these things aren't true, but usually that's not even good enough. They do say predators stick together. Birds of a feather flock together. I mean, it was all set by design, though, guys. I mean, it really was. And the way I saw, if you go back to the McDonald's day, what I saw was a handler. And, that I'm not just trying to talk crap about anybody.
So you actually saw it?
I saw him sitting down and talking to Ernie, who's still not, cognitively centered, fresh getting out of whatever facility they had him at. I guess it was the jail. I don't know. But he sat there and it was so handler, just groomish. I mean, like controlling and manipulative questioning and getting him, like he knew how to manipulate him, and I thought it was sad. I did, and I think that bringing up stuff like that, you're not really gossiping. You're asking people to look at things in a different way, like not so much as like Jerry Springer, but, what are these people doing right now, and if this were you sitting across the table, like how little and belittled and demeaning would it have been for you, and that's trauma-based mind control, after you've been in jail and things happened, and then here you're out, and you still don't know what the hell's going on, and then to have somebody sit and talk in very groomy kind of ways. It really speaks volume. I think he's been a handler for a long time. Do I consider Ernie a predator? Not the Ernie that I know, but the Ernie that I know, we're not seeing that right now. So are there other personalities, other parts of some, himself or whatever? Because I do believe that early childhood trauma, especially like super, super severe trauma, can fracture people and they have completely different personalities and personas.
Yeah, a lot of people consider him a predator.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't really blame a lot of people for that. Honestly, I don't think he's a child predator. And maybe he is. Maybe, who knows? I guess he had a relationship with a young girl too, so, according to himself, right?
Right.
I don't know. I'm gonna mute out for a minute.
Yeah. Hey guys, give us just a minute. The kids all came in to use the bathroom and stuff, get some water. We'll be right back. Sorry, guys. That was like a stampede of tiny little elephants in the room. So, and I didn't keep up with the chat. Man, I'll tell you what, if a 17-year-old boy wanted to be hitting on my 11-year-old, it'd be bad. It'd be really bad. Get the spanking their mama never gave them. Expose the crap out of them. Tell all the moms, don't let this boy around your little ones. You know, but it's sad because and stuff like that, it's probably generations of abuse. And a lot of times it's incest. And a lot of times when it's incest, it's, you know, it's hard for that person to be an empath, especially if there was physical abuse and incestual relations. So it's kind of your responsibility to break the generational cycles and curses, really, if that's what's gone on in your life. Yeah, the 12-year-old little thing, I mean, it is something that is very telling, you know, and we wanted to address it immediately because, man, people have been blowing up our messenger thinking that we were somehow associated with Jimbo. And so we just wanted to make it very clear how our relationship with Jimbo's been. We still haven't gotten an apology for all the lies that got spread about us. They were taking advantage of a child. Well, yeah, see, and that's predatory too. Like, I kind of have issues with the fact that Jimbo, of all people, interviewed Vinny's daughter, because it wasn't of valor and it wasn't of integrity. It was out of vengeance and spite. And I think that Vinny's daughter is she's an injured girl. I mean, you know, you could tell. And it sucks when kids don't have their daddies. You know, my teenagers, we go through hell, you know, with the death of their daddy. From time to time, they still grieve about him. And, you know, sometimes they say things that they don't necessarily mean about him, and they used to say things they didn't mean about me, you know, because they thought that I had kept their daddy away from him. But he was a heroin and Oxycontin junkie, not leaving my kids with him as long as he's shooting up heroin. Sorry. But, you know, you have to protect children. And sometimes your children get mad at you for protecting them. And like being a mother that has to protect your kid from their own father is not an easy position to be in. Yeah, a lot of these people have used everybody's kids against them, you know. And recently people have been saying that they never called DCS on us. That is just completely untrue. We made jokes with the DCS guy and said you need a Predator Hunter Nation hotline number, and it's $3.99 to connect the call and $1.99 each additional minute.
Yeah, they should charge people to talk shit about us.
Yeah.
Might discourage it.
Yeah.
At least they'd make some money off it.
Yeah. So, are we mad at Ernie? No, we're just very disappointed. this isn't division. We're standing pretty firm on seeing some deceitful, predatory type manipulation and brainwashing and exploiting of not just children, but people, sort of like live action trafficking through exploiting people's names and, lies, just making up lies, so many lies. And then just regurgitating it over and over. And then people talking amongst each other about the lies, like people say, oh, I went by there. Hell no, you didn't. You ain't got no balls to come here. Yeah, right.
Hey.
Just people saying, oh, I went by the Smoky Mountain Hemp Cafe. Oh my God. Just bad, whatever. No, you did not. You're liars. So, anyways, we recognize the people of YouTube for sure. But, and that's, going into the bigger topic of just the mind control and the manipulation, and that in itself to, manipulate people is also predatory. Yeah, when a victim lives in their victimhood and uses it as an excuse to their behavior, then that's when it's not okay.
Yeah, well, it's like we always say, the victim or survivor or whatever can go one of two ways. They can either end up completely against that thing, or they can become that thing, whether it's sexual abuse or just, mental abuse or whatever it is that happened to them. A lot of times they take on the role of the abuser, or they do the opposite.
Yeah.
There's not usually a whole lot of in the middle.
Right. I saw something Debbie was saying. I will address that. I feel sorry for Benny's daughter. I know she had a great time and she probably got a lot of donations for doing that live, but I don't think she realizes what that live was really about.
That's the problem, is that there was money involved, and she was kind of bribed to come up and say what she said. Not to say that what she said was false, but because I don't know. But it seems like if you're going to do that, you can't bribe them. You can't have money involved. And she was in a time of need with her car was broken or something. She needed money, and so people were sending her money pretty much to talk. So that's a problem,
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing her interviewed just with an interview, but it's different when you have cash apps all over the place.
I mean, she's young and she seems really strong and powerful, and she's smart. She's really, really smart. I would like to have seen like a mother interview her. And actually, I'd like to interview her if she just wants to interview.
That'd be good.
I mean, she just turned 18, didn't she?
I think so.
Is that true?
That's what I saw. I don't know.
She was very mature, 18. She looks much younger, though. A lot of people were saying, I didn't see any of the first, but I did hear that she was asked to stand up and turn herself around. If that's true, why? Why would you do that? And that's the kind of stuff, guys, we don't at all represent anything like that. I mean, and at this point, we had hoped that all of you people would actually be hunting predators in your own community and exposing them. So, at least them when you see them in the grocery store.
A lot of people have too.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really proud of people that whether it's because of us or somebody else, whatever,
Yep.
that go and look for the signs, because that's what's important at the end of the day. It's not about the credit. It's not about
No.
whatever. It's about finding these motherfuckers.
I know, and we love hearing the stories where we've inspired people to, do that. That makes us really happy.
Yeah.
So to be an influence makes us happier than anything, We're just trying to truly advocate for kids and change, our current situation. I mean, this leads to the Georgia Guidestones, people. Like, we have to start looking out for our children's future,
Speaking of which, Larry said he wanted to call because this wasn't working for him.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Y'all want to talk some Georgia Guidestone talk and, sort of future things if we don't change things for our kids? Goodness.
wow. We got some loud doors. We have all metal doors here. They're all like heavy, super like metal and glass doors, industrial stuff. So a lot of times when a door slams, it's not actually slammed. It's just closed. It's loud.
Benny, I am not sure that they made your daughter spin. Okay. I'm not sure of that, but more than one person has said that.
Yeah, that's just stuff we've heard from people. I didn't see it. I didn't see most of that live.
No.
Actually.
So I would hate to falsely accuse and you get mad and accuse somebody and then it's not true and you get proven wrong and then everybody looks bad,
Not trying to accuse anybody falsely.
Check it twice. Butter it once. No, a lot of this is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking for everyone, because I think everyone's starting to see where they've been lied to and fooled and taken advantage of,
It's a good thing. It's really good.
It's good to wake up and realize what's going on, And yes, digital, it is the true epidemic is what's happening to the children, and a lot of it isn't just pedophilia like people think. It goes into genetic experimentation, and that's one of the harder reality sides that a lot of people aren't ready to accept, And then they, on the other hand, people are like, well, not everybody's a pedo, there can't possibly be that many pedos. And it's true. I mean, and it's because of generational consistencies and things like that, I think, and just indoctrination of depravity and loose morals.
Yeah.
Yeah, why are all these people so invested in others? I mean, seriously, what is the payoff? What is the motive? And why does it seem like such an organized ring of people who somehow know each other from states away? We're finding all you people connected. So what's the deal here? Did he answer?
I haven't called yet.
Oh, y'all want to talk to Larry? Let's talk to Larry.
Of course they do.
I thought you were trying to call him.
I was waiting for a good break.
I wish I could see Larry, though. Put on speaker. Hey, Larry.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing?
You guys hear him okay?
I can hear.
Okay.
Cool.
We can hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Good.
I don't know why some of these studio platforms just really don't want to let me come out and play.
Yeah. No, no. Every time. Every time.
I know. I like having you on the screen.
Man, the board and such really doesn't like when I communicate with people. As I mentioned to you all earlier, we were kind of playing phone tag and stuff, and I had no idea. I actually wasn't even using my cellular device, and I had discovered coincidentally my phone had asked me if I wanted to unhide material, and normally I was like, if it's hid, I don't want to freaking see it, but I don't know why this is showing up on here. And I opened it up, and sure as shit, it was you.
Oh, wow.
So my phone had blocked you all, and I wasn't getting any notifications or anything of whatever was going on because whatever had decided to cut off communications. And
No shit.
I didn't even get a notification that you guys went on with the YouTube thing.
A lot of people don't. I think you gotta hit the bell thing, the notification thing for that. But I mean, your issue could be a totally separate issue. I don't know.
Well, I thought I was because it seemed like I was getting notifications before, but you know how these weird things go. And anyway, how is everybody?
Oh, we're good.
We're really good.
How are you doing?
Still kicking, man.
Still kicking.
Still smoking.
Have you been watching any of the live?
This one early, yeah. I think I was maybe 15, 20 minutes in, and I found out it was on.
Right on.
So I've kind of been. Your chat scenario is just off the charts. Those people are all over the place, man.
I know. Was this one especially? This chat is crazy today because we brought up some stuff that we don't usually bring up, and there's people out there just like waiting for stuff to happen with them.
I just got to say, I mean, you guys, we've chatted a while and this and that. So we're kind of right is right and wrong is wrong, people.
Absolutely.
I mean, you're a good person or you're a piece of shit, but at least fly your flag, you know?
Right. Be honest about it, yeah.
Fly your flag. You know, if you're just a sack of shit and you know you're always going to be a sack of shit, just put your flag up and let people know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That'd be a hell of a lot easier.
The internet.
There's many a successful piece of shits out there.
Oh, yeah.
Being a piece of shit, knowing they're a piece of shit.
Absolutely.
You know?
Well, we got to be different for a reason. It's all good. But, you know, right is right and wrong is wrong. And either way, to get down to the beginnings of the end here, regardless of what individuals, big air quotes, there are doing out here, I can easily sit here for the next few hours and explain to you how every single subatomic platform of every single one of you, including your electronic transactions, are absolutely being logged, tracked, and modified and monitored all day, every day. Like your genetic code and your farts are logged by something somewhere.
Right.
Just saying. So all you guys out here think this is fun and games and messing with people's lives, your day's coming. It's not a game. Just saying. Right is right, wrong is wrong. You guys better straighten your shit out. Regardless, everything that you all, not you, but the world, everything that you all are doing, I assure you, there's ways that, like I say all the time, there should be no such thing as missing children, POWs, unsolved crimes.
Right.
One of these days, somebody is going to come along and flip this little switch, and the know-all of know-alls is going to display everything about everything's everything. It's already in place, people. So I don't know why these platforms are getting off on trying to trip everybody that's trying to correct the wrongs in the world. But that in itself is going to be held accountable, I assure you. Just saying. I mean, just putting it out there. You guys know what kind of stuff I teach.
Yep.
And I'm just here to help. I don't know any of these other fucktards that are causing problems on your side of the tree. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
But I'm just here to explain a lot of the like quantum physics and the alternate realities and the portal platforms and all kinds of the neat physics stuff. And I happen to be in the cannabis industry also, and have had a strange life myself. So it's part of my path to mingle with some people like you all to try and keep the right thing and the right path with our journeys. Because
Yep.
we're on the same journey in a sense.
You're the first
So-
cannabis lounge, and we were the first cannabis cafe of Tennessee.
What?
What?
Chiefin as we speak,
Yeah.
for the record.
Oh, really?
Nice.
You don't say.
I've got some nice white widow. I know I'm only smoking when I'm raising my arms, people. It's really not a problem.
Right. So what led you to cannabis? Since, I mean, you were law enforcement, you were military, special ops, all of that, and of course you weren't smoking weed then, right?
No, obviously.
Right. So
I didn't have any problem with it. I grew up out of the 70s.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it's the one substance that won't kill you. Believe me, I've tried to overdose on cannabis. Oh, somebody help me. I'm trying to OD on weed and my arm's tired. Come on, man.
I'm tired.
But what it sort of got me going was when I came out of my military career and they were basically microwaving us all. And you get the idea with some of the platforms that can happen to our
Mhm.
military forces and even law enforcement. Realistically, I'll just put it out there. I give a fuck about cops.
Mhm.
Cops to me are domestic terrorists. They're the only fucking industry that will save you to death on the spot.
Yeah.
Never mind case law. Just going to leave that as it is.
And he used to be one. So,
So-
take it from there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
at a state level even. So,
Right.
but yeah, that system is all kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
There's too many kickbacks to the political platforms. There's too many kickbacks to the private prison industries and the privately owned police unions.
Mhm.
And the same motherfuckers and their families running through the political platforms, which is in a sense a
Yeah.
lot of the problems I'm having at my place when I was just minding my own damn business on my own damn property and didn't fucking know nobody.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But I digress. What direction would you all like me to go before I start ranting about how much I hate people?
Well, I mean, you can do that if you want.
Probably,
to.
yeah. Weed,
I was,
weed
I was going to bring up the
keeps people safe from you.
weed is absolutely the barrier between a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
I was going to brush on the guidestones just because it's such a hot fucking topic right now.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on especially the aftermath, like why did they just obliterate the rest of it? Do you think?
Well, I will say, first off, there's two important points that I'd like to make. And first off, I don't think they were blown up with a bomb.
Mhm.
Secondly, how the fuck was that in an investigation within 24 hours, they decide to, air quotes, demolish that thing?
I
Which kinda
know.
looked
Pretty
like
quick, right?
It sort of looks fake, to be entirely honest, the demolition of that.
Yeah.
It looked like big foam things with shit spray painted on it, like a Halloween costume.
Right.
Tombstone thing. But I was also a combat engineer in the military, so I worked with demolitions.
Mhm.
Right. So the first thing I saw when I saw that video, and I try to not judge until I see what I see, and then I try to think back to, well, I'll just put it this way. When you think back to when the so-called, air quotes, detonation happened, first off, why was a big flash that was about, 30 feet above the structure, not under the structure or in the structure?
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, if it was a concussion blast, you saw how easily that track loader pushed those fuckers over, right?
Yeah.
It just pink, and it goes pink. No big deal. They just picked up those things and tossed them over like it was nothing.
Yeah.
If an explosion happened that was the size of, say, let's just guesstimate the circumference of an average bus.
Mm-hmm.
A pretty good blast. Like the initial spark of the blast, the flash, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which to me looked like it was quite a bit, 20 footish above the structure to me.
Right.
If it did in fact blast at point or within that structure, that whole fucking thing should have been in little bitty like soap pieces and little shards of shit laying all over the fucking place.
Right.
Yeah.
But only part of it came apart. Why did only one or two of them come apart when that thing so easily fell over? You ever been around? I mean, if you ever been around fireworks, at least imagine fireworks on steroids. And that's sort of how some of those high detonations. Like, I'm just saying.
Hey, let us share. You want to share a video of what happened?
Yeah, I'm looking for one. I don't have one pulled up that doesn't have commentary on it, so I don't know if this is going to have like people saying stupid shit in the background. It might.
We can probably mute it, but I can't see whatever you're doing, obviously. So
yeah,
I know.
It's not up
Yeah.
here.
But in my research, I'll just say my personal studies and things, I thoroughly believe that was not a detonation in a sense. It was an explosion, I guess you could say, because lightning is sort of an explosion. And I think that was a static charge.
Right.
I thoroughly think because that if you look into some of my posts I've had the last couple of days, I just chatted with someone. I think you probably watched yesterday about this even. Granite and stone in specific, placements becomes a conductor. It's like a lightning rod, so it can attract the static energy. The planet itself has positive and negative platforms. That's why there's this nifty satellite system called MADS, Magnetic Anomaly Detection Software. Okay, so they can scan like a LiDAR platform down to the surface of the planet, into the surface of the planet, like deep underground neutrino experimentations called DUNE, like LiDAR on steroids, where they can send neutrino platforms throughout the planet and figure out on a 3D scan platform where every single thing about every single thing is, what it's doing, and its temperatures and its static charges, its positive, negative platforms, the aura level of the subatomic platforms of every photonic everything throughout the planet is scanned.
Right.
Okay? So what the pyramids and these Stonehenge things and like the big heads down at the islands and all that shit, they're basically lightning rods, because in history, one of the problems and dangers of existing was getting struck by fucking lightning. Okay?
Right.
Like walking along and pow, you're dead.
Right.
Or you become an X-Man if you're lucky.
Let me show this video real quick just to make sure people know what the hell we're talking about. This is the Georgia Guidestones being detonated somehow by something the other day.
It looks like from above.
Let's see.
I totally think it's from above.
It could be.
And it probably is electrical energy.
It's hard to get a...
well, look.
It seems to me that because they're firing up these big, basically, it's hard to describe what a lot of these devices do, but there is very large systems, not just CERN, and obviously the whole world, and then some knows that CERN just fired its shit back up and cranked that bitch all the way to rev limit. Which probably isn't.
Oh,
but
I didn't know there was a car.
There was a car leaving the site. Did you know that?
It's interesting.
I'd heard about a car showing up there, but I've not seen any of that video. And for all we know, it's probably been made up, so people couldn't figure out that it was something else.
Yeah.
But when they fire up these big electronic pulse devices, it obviously affects our atmosphere. It affects the static platforms of even the moons.
What is it?
Effects on the grounds and the tidal waves and everything. We know that Tesla 100 or so years ago could create anything, tornadoes, lightning strikes at any place, anywhere around the world, because he understood how the electronic flux of the planet worked. They called it a death ray in a sense. That was 100-something years ago. So when they start firing up like HAARP, the ice cube, and the deep underground neutrino platforms, and China just built a 64-mile collider. Oak Ridge, Tennessee has a collider. They're opening portals to other dimensions. how much energy does it take to do these things? And you have to think about the just ridiculous numbers of high power they put through these things. It obviously has an effect on the electromagnetic flux.
Yeah.
In, around, within the environment, all of the beings. We're basically being microwaved in a sense. And I think because of the shape of those stones, it took an electric charge because of the oscillation platforms. If you get into quantum physics in a bit, not trying to put you all to sleep, but as above, so below. Mm-hmm. We are on a sphere. Okay, so when they crank up these big oscillating, basically, I guess you could say it's a hypersonic photonic plasma drive. It's basically creating fusion in a loop, which is a ring, and in a sense becomes a portal in itself. Mm-hmm. Regardless of if it's in a device, that in itself becomes a signal, a pulse, a trigger, an electronic, just like a pulsar star is basically what that device, like CERN, becomes.
Okay. Well, I never thought about it like that. So the ring, there's ups and downs, formation that the tunnels form in a ring,
a cylinder, is a tunnel, a funneling, everything. It's just wow. And they're going to run that fucker for 4 years.
Oh, really? It's not supposed to shut off for 4 years now?
No, they're leaving that bitch on.
What's the longest it's been on? What's the longest that they say it's been on before now? Because I don't follow this too closely.
I'm not too sure that they even kept the thing. They even turned the thing off, to be entirely honest.
I don't know. I didn't either. That's why I was kind of surprised when people said it was turning on. I'm like, it's been off. I don't know.
Well, the reinforcement of why I think that wasn't the bomb, mm-hmm. but that was an electronic pulse that triggered that device as a conductor. Because if you look back in my posts, I know I share a lot of shit, but I can probably go into it right now, but I don't want to lose you by touching my phone.
Yeah.
The stone,
I could probably pull it off.
The pyramids are electromagnetically aligned. Mm-hmm. The stone is called living stone, which means it's basically a bone in a sense. Mm-hmm. The rocks are basically bones. So if you remember, when the guidestones were just hit, just after that, there was a monolith. What was the name of that thing? It was up in, was it New York or something? I think you all shared that big steeple thing.
Yeah.
There's some big needle. They said it got struck by lightning, and it did the same thing that mm-hmm. those guidestones did. A big chunk of it blew off. Part of it stayed. Mm-hmm. That means that it was a lightning rod. It basically went through that shit. So you get used to it. Remember the green skies and all that mm-hmm. across the South Dakota or such? Mm-hmm. That's aurora borealis. That is the same thing that happens at the North and South poles and such,
right?
Because of the electromagnetic flux in relation to the atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Now, basically what that did was that moved the normal place of the aurora borealis up by the North Pole, Alaska, wherever the hell that is up that way. And it pulled that out all the way down to South Dakota.
Interesting.
Now imagine what's that doing to the whole planet. You remember watching the video of the CERN video, and they were getting data. Mm-hmm. All the data was on the screen, and what was in the screen when they said we're getting the information right now? It was a globe. Mm-hmm. There's 50 different countries linked up to that thing, and I don't even know how many quantum computers. But what they're doing is they're basically micro-analyzing dark matter, and dark matter, in a sense, is dark body entities, which is shadows, which is the previously existed beings with the retained memories, because water retains memories. Mm-hmm. The dark body entities would still be able to have an atmospheric entity as an aura. The aura is the essence, the oil from the body that still exists with a cognitive static relationship to the environments.
Right.
That is milkable. And what they're doing is they're not only creating this dark matter, which is basically souls, but now they are super micro analyzing dark matter at a what we consider to be beyond subatomic platforms. So they can not only map our brains here. Hence, I started off with everything everybody's doing is all being logged, and I assure you it is. I can tell you right now that the Pentagon, as an example, is not only creating an artificial gateway to what they're perceiving as a purgatory platform between a staged heaven or hell that they will create and determine where you will go next. Okay, the Pentagon will literally play your entire life in a judgment platform in front of you when you leave this physical existence, and they will play your whole life in front of you.
Well, that should be
and
fun.
Determine. Oh yeah, every single one of you.
Yeah.
I can't tell you that there's actually a real heaven or hell, but we've created one for you. Everybody say yay! No, but seriously though, this shit is actually real, and it's happening. All of the quantum computer hive minds are all linked through this nifty thing called CGI Corporation, and it's not CGI like computer generated imagery, although it's ironically similar.
Right.
This CGI Corporation is Department of Justice, Department of Defense, and all of those different nifty little alphabet soups are all linked into mapping everything about every single one of you, all the time, all day, whether you have a phone or not. They don't need to put a chip in your brain. It's all wireless. Part of the problems of what's going on with all this Rona shit is to get genetic mapping platforms. Okay? There's nanotechnology, there's nanodust, smart dust, there's spies, micro everything's through everyone. No one's going to get away with anything. One of these days, someone's going to expose all this. It's probably going to be part of what I'm doing. But realistically, all these things that we're over here arguing about, trying to fluff everybody's feathers because it's something fun to do, is going to become irrelevant. We're out here arguing with each other about what color somebody's fucking shoes are, or how long their hair is, or what kind of life they decide to live, when realistically, we're all a bunch of slaves to these rogue political platforms that are basically utilizing regional social agitators, controllers, it's all a network. The MENA connection has been running strong since way before back in the 80s.
Oh yeah.
This ties into your human trafficking platforms. Where do 800,000 documented children go a year? That's documented children, by the way.
Documented, exactly. What about all the breeding farms of the undocumented babies that get born? People aren't ready for those conversations, though, because they're too busy fighting with each other.
Every electronic transaction leaving the electronic trail, kind of like Miss Ghislaine Maxwell, that's sitting up in New York of all places, which I like to get into that conversation.
Right.
Ghislaine Maxwell created the Terramar project with Epstein. Epstein helped create the Amber Alert system that's tracking all of your children through these political regime platforms that are basically trafficking all of your kids.
Yeah, basically.
There's 800,000 average documented children go missing a year, but you might get a text every 2 weeks that a kid's missing or something, and that's all you hear from it.
Well, and a lot of the Amber Alerts, are also foster and family issues. Like the kids are already involved in the foster system, and it's a parent or an aunt or something that's taken off with the kid. It's a common denominator that it's already kids that are in the system somehow.
On the Amber Alert, so it's
on
not
the
even,
Amber Alert.
It's not even reporting
all of them,
any
like
of the
all the
good
kids.
ones. It's not reporting shit.
Well, this kind of all comes back to the same thought of, if they had the ability to spy on us and stop us from talking to each other, and they had these nifty things called like the Stingray device, where the political platforms and the cops can sit in their nifty little office and mirror your electronic devices from their office and act as you, or look through anything that you've done, anything you've deleted, anything you looked at, anything your phone registered as you thought about, and your phone registered and programmed it into the maybe she might like this ad. All that shit can be registered, read, and platformed through this nifty thing called the Stingray device. And that's just one of dozens of other technologies. But they can look in your phone.
Right.
Why are these kids still missing?
Yeah.
Why is there still unsolved crimes when they can look in anybody's phones and find out, yep, that motherfucker's a piece of shit. Look what he been doing.
Mm-hmm.
Look at it. Look at it. Nope, they don't. Because they want us to go after each other instead so they can get a better case out of it.
Right.
Whether someone's actually done something or not, they'd rather society just go at each other because it doesn't fucking matter to them.
Right.
They
People
don't
are
give a
asking
fuck.
if you have a channel. Larry does not
doesn't.
have a YouTube channel.
I stepped out of all of the. I quit all of my pages and all that. I got tired of the bullshit side of things. And
Yeah, they kept
realistically, I wasn't
asking,
even
so I
going to do
figured.
these lives.
Oh man, your whole life would be fighting trolls with all the truth bombs you have to share.
Yeah, I know.
Man,
People want to learn
fuck
some
all
more
that.
from you, though. You know, so it sucks in a way, but I see what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
I still try to come along to chat with individuals throughout the network and things. Obviously, I used to do a lot more. I
Right.
used to have my own pages, and I just got tired of having to be everybody's secretary for tens of thousands of fucking people.
Yeah.
All day long. I learned a lot, but I mean, I got a life,
Mhm.
and I got enough bullshit going on with these stupid fucks showing up at my property. By the way, if any of you are listening to this, don't fucking come find me. If you show up here and you're not invited, I might kill you. So don't.
Yep.
Just don't.
Right. I wouldn't
I'm
mess
done
with
with
Larry.
motherfuckers. I'm done with motherfuckers. I don't give a shit about any of you guys, realistically. You know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Don't come at me. Don't come at me. I'll just drop you because the courts don't work. And it's fucking pointless calling a cop. So I got a fucking bulldozer and some hungry dogs. So don't. Okay? Just put it out there. You guys
Larry
have any
gets gang
questions?
stalked.
Put it out
Bad.
here now. Otherwise, I keep my circle very small. Don't fucking text me. Don't try and call me. Don't show up at my fucking house. I don't care if you like my cars. Look and move on. Not after friends. But I digress.
But I digress.
I digress. I am here to help. But everybody can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Go have a nice day. You know, I'm not the bad guy, but I'm tired of the stupid fucks.
Yeah.
Intertwining themselves in my life. I'm supposed to be retired. I don't even have to do this shit.
I know.
But I'm trying to be the positive, you know.
Yeah.
I'm trying to help society because I know it's fucking drowning.
Right.
And most of you, I don't mean you, most of society is too busy with their Stockholm syndrome and gaslighting and cognitive dissonance infestations, trying to fuck up somebody else's life, when most of us are just trying to find out what the truth is, what's really going on in the world, and how can we help all these kids and victims of circumstances.
Yeah.
So,
And how can we inspire each other to be the change within our own communities, you know?
Mhm.
It makes no fucking sense to me why some of these, I know drugs are bad, right? But if your life's fucked up, be your own fucked up life in your own fucking little tunnel.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
You know, like that's like somebody wants to kill themselves, so they're gonna go drive themselves into the front of a fucking semi or a train or something.
Right.
That all that does is push your problems onto someone else who was minding their own damn business.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of those times, you're gonna find that some people you probably should have left the fuck alone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people are seeing about me and Xander too. You know, they wanted to tie us into this little box of Ernie's and Jimbos and these
That's
sleazy
interesting soap
people.
opera.
I know, like, it is an interesting soap opera for sure. It's like
Sure it is.
Bernie Springer nowadays, dude. It's bad. Meets the dating game. Yeah.
I'd gladly tell you all about portal platforms and the cannabis industry, or why these fucking stupid fucking networks exist and things like whatever direction you all want to go. I mean, you got me at the table. I'll try to talk about whatever you want to get into. Go for it. You got me.
All right. Well, hey,
I just had to get.
let's talk about
the disclaimers out of the way. You know.
Let's tell everybody what cannabis does for the brain. You present it so well.
Which part? I was actually, that's one of the things you started with. As I came out of the military, my Middle East tour, and I'm pretty sure, well, I don't even need to get into what happened, but I went from about 200 pounds quickly at military shape, 200 pounds By the way, I was infantry and combat engineer, if that tells you. So it was the fun stuff. But I quickly went from about 200 pounds, and last time I stopped counting, I was pushing about 80 pounds. So I was deteriorating. My daughter recently looked up that apparently by my size and height and things, that apparently my bone structure should have weighed about 20 to 30 pounds of about 80 pounds of overall weight. And they put me on the comeback cocktail, which is, I don't know if you all know that, but the comeback cocktail is what we call when you go to the VA. And it's almost like regardless of what is wrong with you, all of us end up taking the same 15 to 25, 30 pills multiple times a day. We call it the comeback cocktail. Regardless of what your diagnosis were, they fed us of all the same shit. It didn't make sense. But once I realized I was literally about to die, which, you know, I'm not worried, but whatever. Death is death. Death is, ascension is a gift. So I'm not worried about that.
Right.
And I'm not the bad guy. I'm the guy you send after the bad guy. So I'm not worried about any of that other shit.
Right.
But you know, I wanted to try and see if I could do something about my situation. Obviously, with the government platforms, it was killing me for some reason, and I'm kind of familiar as to why. Other than just to throw it out there, you all know, but they may not know. I also invented an air-powered car when I was 17. That's back in the 90s for some of you. They suppressed all of that, and along with many other aspects of my life, I've also been a targeted individual most of my life. So, fighting through all of those circumstances and then getting into my adult life and things, and especially becoming an activist and exposing corruption and wrongdoing, I don't give a damn who you are. This obviously gets me targeted, but in my opinion, if people are trying to kill me, I guess I'm on the right track, and I'm just going to.
That's how we feel about it too.
Yep.
I'm still here, motherfuckers.
Must be doing something right.
We're doing something right.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not the bad guy, but
No.
apparently the bad guy doesn't like when people like us all talk to each other.
Yeah,
And that
exactly.
makes me
Not at
smile.
all. That's why it's so hard to do.
Especially when we rally other people, you know, to get excited about, you know, change and movement and
Oh, you
truth
can't
and
have that.
awareness.
That's
You can't have that.
No way.
No way. Conspiracy theorists.
Even however many people are paying attention to even to just this conversation right now, most likely either now or after this, these people will probably communicate with other people about this conversation and pass that information on. And that becomes a daisy chain platform of information of ones and zeros and dialogues that are through the algorithms that can all be traced. So you guys go ahead and talk about us. And all those things can be flagged later when all of these things are going to expose that they probably should have been in the first place. So as they talk about us, they're going to connect with all of their networks in relation to things about us.
Yeah.
And all of those things can be traced because every electronic transaction leaves an electronic trail. Even everything you think can be traced back. So go ahead.
Right.
We're going to find out who all of you are regardless. So have fun. Believe me.
Yeah.
Everything about everything is about to come out the wash.
Yeah, I know.
This ain't the 1800s anymore, boys and girls.
Yeah.
We got shit out in space. We're colonizing the galaxies. It's called Operation Moonshadow. And Project Millennials, as an example. That's a lot of things that people talk about, the 20 and back programs. By the way, when I came back from my military career shortly before I was retired, I was asked by some, I guess you could say, high-level platforms in the military, straight-faced to me, will you work with aliens? So that should answer some of your questions there, boys and girls.
And what did you say?
We have never referred to any nationality in any other than, you know, someone's who's a piece of shit that, you know, but that hillbilly shit is off to the side. You don't have someone in a high brass scenario calling somebody a slang term in the middle of a barracks. It just don't happen that way. You get fired and in trouble with stuff.
Right.
So by aliens, I assure you they didn't mean south of the border.
All right.
There's definitely stuff happening in the sky.
Yes. Yeah. And a lot of this stuff is distractions from people just going and looking outside and looking up and just sitting for a couple hours.
Well, the cannabis conversation, to get back to that.
Yeah.
One of the other aspects of the things I did in the cannabis industry was I developed a platform of highly, how would you put it? I started a cannabis testing and diagnostic analytical platform. That was a portable platform, so I could help people in the cannabis industry to find out what they were really working with.
Mm-hmm.
And through that, I had the abilities of figuring out people's cannabinoid deficiencies and their receptor platforms, whether they're firing, misfiring, or not firing at all, just to let people know about the compatibility with the cannabis plant and the human body. Breast milk naturally contains THC in it.
Mm-hmm.
That is the cannabinoid platform in breast milk that has babies craving to eat.
Yeah.
Okay.
They get stoned, not drunk. They call it milk drunk. Like they should call it like milk stoned.
Yeah. Well, that platform, the basis of that is designed to help babies develop their entire bodies, starting from their oils in the spine, which was the tail, but the oils in the spine and the biometrics of the brain to allow them to rapidly activate their stem cell platforms to evolve into a natural looking human being. So what I had done was got a handheld cannabinoid testing platform where I could, as a portable device, with 3 to 5 minutes, I could give you the results of what your plant compounds were.
Mm-hmm.
I could also test your water, your air, your soil, not just your cannabinoid platforms, your body fluids and things.
Mm-hmm.
And I could link your cannabinoid deficiencies to a specific strain. So if you needed a specific cannabinoid spike, I could link that to a strain specifically and the strain specific to a farm and then send you to that farm.
That's awesome.
But Tennessee, specifically Polk County, stole all my fucking equipment before I could really get into it. Ironically, some of that was stolen directly from my mailbox, and the sheriff's bitch-ass son filed a false report and said that while I was robbed, while I was fighting downtown with them about what they had illegally done to my property, I was robbed again. We don't need to get into all that. But the bitch-ass sheriff's son wrote in the report, and he's one of the ones who raided my house and set up all this shit at my place. He wrote in the report that someone must have stolen some of my equipment out of the mailbox when he's the motherfucker who took it out of the mailbox. But I digress.
Of course.
But
yeah, I remember we were going to have you process for us. We were so excited you were getting everything.
If you look back in about 5 years ago, the Tennessee hemp industry specifically was posting, because people were asking, where can I get pre-testing done in the cannabis industry to find out when I need to harvest or what my levels are, so I know when I can harvest and still be under the bullshit regulations that they make you go to when you contract with the HIA, which is nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
But I digress. I'm not a supporter of the HIA, and I guess you could say, what was that fucker's name? Katie Kilborn can go fuck herself. Just gonna put it out there. She was with the Hemp Industry Association.
Mm-hmm.
She can eat a dick.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I digress.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You're not alone in that. In that.
She was one of the ones that
one
created the hemp blacklist for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. She is one of the ones who stated in one of her public statements that I deserved what happened to me.
Oh wow.
When they were the ones that said that they didn't have anyone to test, and I actually was working with them, and I volunteered my time, funding, and this and that, and created Tennessee Hemp Testing.
Mm-hmm.
It's THC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Tennessee Hemp and Cannabis Testing.
Mm-hmm.
I never even got to do anything. They shut it all down and stole my equipment. So 5 years I've been fighting with that. But
Yeah.
anyway, to dial back in, as I was fizzling away in the military career, I was being medically discharged and such. I had tumors in my brain. I had 3 tumors, growths, whatever you want to call it, removed from my body. I was diagnosed with, arthritis, about 32. I found a hemorrhage in my brain that was from way back, and I have complex traumatic brain injuries on top of that, to specifically get back to the cannabinoids in the brain thing.
Mm-hmm.
So another veteran who's not with us anymore, he was in Portland, Oregon, and we had a group that was called Combat Veterans Alternative Treat for PTSD. It was actually his group. His name's Sean. And there was a guy out of New York. I can't remember his name. But, he's that Marine, that sort of tall, thin Marine that does the videos where he compares a handful of pills to a bud in his other hand, and he wears his military uniform.
Mm-hmm.
I worked with him too.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, I became a cannabis patient, and I talked to some of the doctors and things in the process of becoming a cannabis patient. And as I started to go around and meet other people to try and learn as much as I could, I was slowly weaning myself off the comeback cocktail scenario.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I have just got back to 200 pounds. So I've got off all the pills, and you couldn't force me to take a pill. Kind of like these cootie shots. There's not a motherfucker big enough to make me get a Rona shot.
Right.
All right.
Just saying. All of that platform is a way to genetically scan you, in a sense, but that's a different conversation. Anyway, it turns out that you can reactivate damaged stem cell platforms by finding the biometric key to the keyhole platform of how your body works. Your hydration levels, the water you're using, what the water is,
Mm-hmm.
city water, well water, stream water, whatever kind of processed water, all that shit makes a difference. And it ties into your gut bacteria and all those sorts of things. There's thousands of different cannabis strains, and each one does something different. And depending on how your receptor platforms, whether they're firing, misfiring, or not firing at all, or maybe those stem cell platforms is not even activated in the first place since you've been existing, all of those things can be redone. I figured out a long fucking time ago that the spike protein in this Rona virus that they created can be reversed by matching the cannabinoid receptor to the spike protein of the coronavirus. Just saying.
Yeah.
I proved all this, and I had equipment to back it up, and they stole it from me.
Mm-hmm.
Do they still have possession of your equipment? Like it's awaiting trial?
Yeah. Are they using it?
They also still have my pistol. I actually have asked several times. I wanted proof that they're not using my laptop and my equipment while they do this.
Yeah.
I want to know what they're doing with my shit.
Mm-hmm.
But we have.
We need to create a Free the Larry.
Free Larry's shit campaign.
Free Larry's lab campaign.
Yeah.
Well,
Free Larry.
I will tell you all. I will say this much. I am fighting. Well, let's just say corruption doesn't follow regulations. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm not fucking stupid.
Mm-hmm.
As far as these topics, and it came down to land grab. Stop what the fuck this guy's doing and get him out of this town, because I was literally told by about a dozen county sheriff's deputies, you will leave this town one way or another. I said that.
Yeah.
So I will get my equipment, and I will get compensation, a very large one actually. I am demanding at this point that I will get over $100 million, tax exempt of course, because they don't deserve a fucking cut for what they started.
Yeah, you
I'll
deserve
get
it.
all of my equipment back. And I expect about 300 motherfuckers to go to prison or better for the rest of their lives.
Mm-hmm.
Or, if they won't do their job, I'm going to do my job. And I'm going to do about $100 million worth of damage. I'm just going to drop everybody.
Right.
So choose wisely, those of you that are listening. And with that being said, I used to be one of those guys in the military that hunted people for a living.
Mm-hmm.
I went to this neat place called the School of Assassins of America. It was my job. I was also law enforcement, so you get the idea. I'm trying to allow these systems to do their job, but through the process of it, we're exposing who everyone is because they're raising their little "I'm a piece of shit" flag, trying to come at me.
Mm-hmm.
So, with that being said, and I'm not trying to get into all this, but I will get my shit back, or I will drive a truck through that building with everyone inside of it.
I know you will.
Mm-hmm. I don't doubt you.
But I digress.
Blaze
We
of
don't need to get
glory.
into all that. I will gladly answer any other questions.
Well, do you think that, okay, we've all seen like what happens to people in like a paranoid state. Do you think cannabis can stop that?
Cannabis does not cause paranoia.
No, I know,
Paranoid
but
causes
someone who
paranoia.
is going in a mental episode,
Yeah.
do you think
I
it
am
would cause
familiar.
it or prevent it?
I am familiar with that, and what I have sort of figured out was it's sort of like the effects of Ritalin. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of it has to do with: are you drinking enough water? Are you not drinking water? Because the water has a lot to do with everything about you.
Yeah.
Okay, it also has to do with your environment.
Mm-hmm.
You can be a targeted individual, people hitting you with direct energy weaponry. There's all kind of games, stalking games. Believe me, they're fun. That's a little bit of sarcasm, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
But as far as in a sense, I guess you're going toward the psychosis platform.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, I sort of figured out that it's sort of like when people take Ritalin. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
you know about Ritalin, and personally, the shit should be banned because I think that was about the time that autism came along.
Yeah, it should be banned. That's bad stuff.
I believe they got sued actually because it was causing what's it medical injuries or whatever that phrase is. But what happens with some people is when some people take Ritalin, it might not do a damn thing.
Yeah,
it might make someone hyper.
Mm-hmm.
It might make someone really calm and just want to be chill.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Your cannabinoid receptor platforms do practically the same exact thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Receptors are receptor, but you have specifically cannabinoid receptors, and you have these other dopamine receptors and your neuropathic receptors and all these different things going on. There's sparks and oxygen levels and the hydration levels and everything comes into play. What you're eating, things like that. To get back to the point, in a sense, I have figured out that people who already have cognitive discrepancies, we'll just say, because that's a better term than tagging someone with psychosis, multiple personalities, all those things. I have found someone with anxiety or just hyperactivity scenarios of their damaged platforms that sort of put them in maybe an altered state of consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Those sort of people need to stay toward the high CBD platform,
Yeah,
and they'll get similar effects from the high CBD platform.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of it's in your head. You know, you don't have to actually do anything. You can pull these platforms out of your own body,
right,
with meditation, breathing practices, cleansing yourself, getting all of the, purging your glands. Look up Dr. Sebi as an example. You can reset everything in your body and such. But it realistically, I can't put a Band-Aid answer on that. I would need my fucking equipment that they stole from me to be able to hey, spit in this.
I know.
And,
we have to get Larry's equipment back for him. We shouldn't.
Well, the problem is, I still try to help everybody understand all this.
Mm-hmm.
But although I own Tennessee's first licensed cannabis lounge, it says perpetual. I don't give a fuck who comes along. I will continue to do what I want to do about anything that I intend to do involving the cannabis platform.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You can try to put a bullshit platform on me. I give a fuck. I don't care. Aside from that, I am also licensed through the state with my analytical platform. It was called Tennessee Hemp and Cannabis Testing.
Mm-hmm.
Still is. I still hold those umbrellas, but realistically, I don't fucking care anymore. I don't care.
Right.
I'm not in this to have a cannabis industry, although I have a cannabis industry. I'm gonna sit here smoking weed and nobody's invited. How about that? My doors will stay closed. My doors will stay closed. As I said before, don't fucking pull up in my driveway. Because I used to have an open door policy where I would try to help anybody. Now I have to consider I'll probably have to kill anybody I meet because I'm surrounded with a town full of inbred fucking boonhowers that are related to the political platforms and the cops.
Yeah.
So if you're going to try and stage me, I'm just going to erase all of you. Thank you for raising your hands. So with that, I'm not interested in being in the platforms of the cannabis industry, but I'll gladly try and help you all as a courtesy.
Well, I just wanted your knowledge on how it helps with somebody who's a vet like you, who has been through some extreme stuff. You know,
I'm totally willing to help, but my doors are no longer open.
Oh, I totally.
I don't blame you.
I mean, we're getting there too.
I can't trust anyone, and realistically, the people that have been around here, I figured out that they all know each other, and well, thank you for letting me know who you are.
Well, for those who don't know, Polk County is a lot like Hawkins County and smaller towns like Cott County. Just a good old boy, everybody's related to each other kind of town.
Well, the nifty thing about Polk County is, what's Polk County, Florida?
Yeah, that's where Grady's at.
Polk County, Tennessee is a nifty little pit stop. And if you look over where Polk County, Arkansas, what's that? That's where the Clintons are from. That's the same place that Polk County is in Tennessee, but in Arkansas, across the state line, across from Memphis. That's where the Clintons are. And as I said, the MENA connection is still running strong, boys and girls. That's the Iran concert where they're using cops. They're using what do you call those? They're deputizing traffickers and drug dealers.
Right.
Kind of like the piece of shit 3 doors down from me that got to book me in Polk County Sheriff's Department. Well, his bitch ass son is going around robbing everybody. These people have been arrested probably 30 fucking times since I've been here, but they keep getting out within 10 minutes. Ain't that cute?
Yeah.
Meth house, 3 doors down, by the way. You guys know who everybody is. It's really cute. Like the Polk County Sheriff also runs a church. And you'll find out that the Polk County judge affiliates run the Boys and Girls Club. And you'll quickly learn that the Polk County the Polk County school board will regularly send their children down to Disney for weekend trips.
Wow.
Regularly. Wow. So one of the fuckers that used to come and hang out at my place opened a cannabis business downtown as she was learning everything about what I was doing, and it's where my kiln came from. They helped me deliver it because the guy wouldn't fucking come up with their driveway.
Oh, wow.
I ordered a kiln from California, and this bitch tried to get my kiln.
Yeah.
So I ended up meeting them down the road and having it delivered back to my house. And this fucker opened up a business downtown while she was framing me. Her husband retired out of Polk County Sheriff's Department with a $8,000 a month pension.
Damn.
They just transferred from Polk County, Florida, when we were exposing the hundreds of people being arrested for the pedo shit out of Disney. So, and you wonder why they're trying to get rid of me.
Right.
Yeah.
But I digress.
Well, that's the area of the Georgia-Tennessee border there.
States.
Yeah.
Look up 12 Polk counties of the United States, and you'll find a nifty little net.
Really?
Yes, 12 Polk counties. They all tie together.
12 Polk counties.
So
did you know that the I guess Sally Forth brought it up last night about ORNL being part of the Clintons? What was that,
it
Sally?
used to be
Oak Ridge. It took me a second to figure out what the hell you were talking about.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Oak Ridge.
It used to be called the Clinton.
Well, I'll tell you this much. I helped get Bill Haslam removed as governor of Tennessee right after I moved down here, and that motherfucker's one of the ones that signed off for my cannabis lounge to be licensed through the government. It was done through Nashville, and Trey Hargett, Secretary of State, who just got arrested for DUI in a state car, by the way. Trey Hargett, Secretary of State, signed off on my business license. It says perpetual. Bill Haslam and what's that fucker from Texas? Rick Perry, one of the politicians from Texas, are the ones running the portal opening agendas out of Oak Ridge.
Mhm.
So even though I helped get the fucker out of the governor's office, along came Bill Lee, which I thought was going to be all right. Turns out he's a piece of shit too. They're all in each other's pockets. To give you an example, the judge that stated up shit at my house was appointed by Bill Haslam. Isn't that cute?
Well, there's some stuff about Bill Haslam and that dead girl in
The
Cobb
first
County.
judge-
What was her name? Amber? Wait.
I don't remember.
Yeah, because when we brought her up, it caused a lot of troubles, a lot of trolls.
Well,
Just for bringing her
Tennessee-
up. What's her name?
Megan.
Do you remember her last
Oh,
name?
Megan Maxwell?
Megan Maxwell.
Yeah.
Yes, Megan
Yeah.
Maxwell.
Sorry.
We brought up Megan Maxwell, and Lord have mercy. I mean, parasites and demons came flying all over our social media.
That's pretty crazy, man.
It was crazy. We were like, what? And that was the time when Ernie called us and was like, yeah, I got called by 3 different people today asking me to have y'all take that down. You don't need to be bringing up Megan Maxwell. And we were like, well, yeah, we do. If people are like saying we need to take that down, maybe that's a skeleton.
Pretty good
from
sign
the
you should
closet.
probably not take it down.
Yeah, that's a pretty good sign. We should dig a little harder on the Megan Maxwell case.
See? Thanks for raising your hand, boys and girls.
Yeah,
I'll do
thanks for
that.
raising your
Okay,
hand.
that means I should. I appreciate that.
I know.
No, realistically, all this, the whole planet is basically under several blankets of alternate realities.
Mhm.
There's the Black Mirror projects.
Yes. Mhm.
They're duplicating and monitoring all of the platforms of the multiple dimensions through Project Pegasus, Project Camelot. There's, of course, Looking Glass. There's Chronovision, where it's kind of like Looking Glass technology, where they're looking back and forth through time.
Mhm.
There's Chronogate programs, which is teleportation platforms. There's several portal opening agendas. Everybody's talking about CERN is opening portals to other dimensions. Well, right here in Tennessee, we're opening portals to other dimensions.
Mhm.
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 There's this nifty thing called World Simulex, or Simulex World Simulation Platform, where there's basically holographic realities, sort of like that Player One movie.
Mhm.
What's it? Gamer, whatever that is, that movie where you're like in an alternate reality and virtual reality shit. That's
Is that
literally happening
Tron?
around
Like,
us.
are you talking about Tron, like old school?
No, it's called Player One. I've never
Player
seen
One? I don't know
Yeah,
what it
it. It's
is.
a new movie, I guess. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, they can do that shit with satellite to skull technology.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So if you're being gang stalked, they can put realities into your brain with
Mhm.
energy platforms, because our bodies in a biometric subatomic platform, basically our cells don't even touch each other.
Right.
We're a cognitive static relationship in a mist with an observation of what we perceive ourselves. Realistically, the shadows that attach itself to our bodies is called dark body entities.
Mhm.
Dark body entities, or black body energies.
Mhm.
Our shadows actually have more reality in this reality than the bodies that we think we perceive ourselves as. So a lot of this is just experimentation. Really, all experimentation platforms. There
Yeah.
may be aspects to your worlds that don't really exist. Listen to what I just said. Okay. If you don't believe me, if you look into the history of the invasion of Iraq, there were platforms that sent voice to skull technology, and made people think that God was appearing, and told the Iraqis to put down their guns, and they used holographic realities to make them think that things were around them, and everyone gave up. You don't think they're doing that to you all every day?
So, when We went to war with Iraq. Were you one of the first ones that were sent in?
I wasn't the first, but I was in the shit.
Yeah.
I was all over Iraq, and I was basically in Baghdad. But
I was wondering if
I
you
swam-
got sent to the
I-
Museum of Antiquities in that area.
Well, I swam in Saddam's pool. I was in his palace, and I was basically at the place where they hung him.
Mm.
Like where the place where I would sleep. I could take a slingshot and fling a rock over there and hit that building, the little island where they did that. Realistically, I think that in itself, that conversation is going to turn on all those platforms because monkey see, monkey do. I'll just say that.
Mhm.
So if these people went into other countries to go after people and there wasn't really actually any kind of reason to be going after these people, because realistically, the people that this government, the political platforms, the people that they went after, went to school here,
Mhm.
hung out here,
Mhm.
trained here, went to these colleges here on political amnesty platforms. As an example, I went to the same school as bin Laden. Literally, his classroom was the next building over from mine. You heard what I said.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, aside from that, why would they throw bin Laden off into the ocean if he was from the fucking desert? I don't necessarily think that was really him. Kind of
Yeah, I
like
don't
how
either.
they spent tens of millions of dollars in this thing called hunting for Hitler.
Yeah.
Hitler's body was a woman, boys and girls.
Hmm.
When they found his body and he was supposedly dead,
Mhm.
it was a woman.
Really?
I didn't know that.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
He went from there. He went down to Argentina, which is a car manufacturing hub, and there's also all sorts of nifty things happening in Argentina.
Mhm.
And went from there to South Africa. You know who's from South Africa?
Mhm.
Elon Musk.
Elon Musk. Yep.
You know who puts all the tunnels between all the deep underground military bases? Musk Boring Agency.
Hmm.
So if
Musk
there's about
Boring Agency. I
5,000
did not know that.
Oh yeah, girl.
Oh yeah.
Musk Boring.
Right.
Musk Boring Agency. That's
Okay.
the fucker that's connecting all the military bases together. And if you think about that, if you go out on Google, it's not just for porn. Google will tell you, if you search in how many boring, as in tunnel machines, how
Mhm.
many boring companies make boring machines. And then you figure out how many boring companies make boring machines. And then you figure out how many boring machines the boring companies have distributed.
Mhm.
And then you figure out how many boring machines are distributed and where, and then how many are active. And you'll only notice that there's only a few active.
Right.
Isn't that peculiar?
Yeah.
With that, not only are they mining, like not only the rings of Saturn, but also Uranus. That same way that they're mining the platforms of space, it's the same way that they took down the Twin Towers. And the Twin Towers were brought down because not only did Fort Knox had the largest gold reserves.
Mhm.
New York had the second largest gold reserves. You don't hear anybody talking about where the gold went.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know who was running the show? Who runs NASA? That's Operation Paperclip.
Mhm.
That's the fucking Nazis giving political amnesties after
Nazis, yep.
supposedly the war ended. So if we got Nazis running NASA, and there's Nazis running our police unions, and there's all these Israeli and Jewish platforms. I'm not trying to dog on anybody. I give a fuck what your religious platform is. So don't try and feed off that.
Yeah.
But realistically, there's extremists that are running all of these rogue platforms. And if you look at the basis of a lot of these, where these political platforms tie to, they have a fancy for young children.
Mhm.
I remember being in the Middle East, and it was a common phrase over there that boys were for fun, women were making babies, and women were seen as less than dogs, and dogs had no place in their homes.
Wow.
Those people are running your government platforms.
Mhm.
See where I'm going? Now, these government platforms really want to lower the age of consent. You know who I'm talking about?
Yep.
I'm talking about here. A lot of these government platforms, that fucking Harris bitch, Biden, obviously. And just for the record, let's remember, Biden calls colored kids roaches.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Biden calls colored kids roaches, and that's why when they put him in place, he had to have a black girl with him, which isn't black, by the way.
Yeah, she's not black.
She's like Indian and Israeli or some shit. I don't know what the fuck. But,
she's definitely
anyway,
mixed ethnics.
That one. Why do you think they call him Corn Pop? Speaking of,
I don't know. We looked up who Corn Pop was because that was so weird. Why?
What's the one food that humans can't really digest?
Corn.
How do you pop corn? It ain't in a pan.
How?
See where I'm going?
What?
Biden calls colored roaches. They rub their hands up his leg and watch the sun reflect off of his hairs, and the little roaches would sit on his lap.
Right. Oh, that's so gross.
So, aside from that, the camel toe hairless bitch is tied to Willie Brown from California. And they have private prison contracts. That bitch used to work for the district attorney's office, which was tied to the CPS cases, juvenile detention, and the private prisons out that way. And you know who wants to legalize prostitution? For the record, I think that prostitution should be thoroughly legal. It's two consenting adults.
Yeah, consenting adults, I think.
It's consenting adults without dinner. Who gives a fuck? Other than, obviously, part of the fun. But who fucking cares?
Right.
If there's people fucking... If there's moral discrepancies involved with it, that's not the fucking government's place to tell somebody what to do with their dick.
Yeah.
So, aside from that, but these platforms want to lower the age of consent to, I believe it's roughly 11. It's open information. They're literally not shy about it. That's why these fucking people are escorted through these political platforms. As a reminder, do you all know who? Make sure I get the fucking names right. You know who Jeffrey Epstein is. Obviously, he was a math teacher in guess where? New York. Jeffrey Epstein set up the disaster relief funds with the Hillary administration. Okay. You know about the Ghislaine Maxwell platform tied to Israel? That's who's Ghislaine Maxwell's daddy.
Right.
They created the Terramar Project so they could traffic all these kids. Now, you know who Jill Biden is, right?
Yep.
Supposedly is Biden's supposed wife. Who's Joseph Epstein?
That's Epstein's brother.
Joseph Epstein is the guy who gave Jill Biden her so-called doctorate's degree so she could call herself Dr. Biden. Otherwise she's a fucking buffoon. But,
okay.
Joseph Epstein was a plastic surgeon in guess where? New York.
New York.
Where Jeffrey Epstein, was a math professor. He created all these political platforms to funnel all the disaster relief platforms. Meanwhile, they're trafficking all the children. And aside from that, we all know, if you look back in the music industry, Elvis, all those fucking people like that.
Yeah.
Reality check, boys and girls. Elvis was a pedophile.
I know. We
He
were talking about that
his
today.
11-year-old niece.
We were like, yeah.
Now, with that, even people like, everybody loves, like Steven Tyler. You all know that Steven Tyler convinced a girl's parents to give him custody of I think she was maybe 14 when they were touring, gave him custody of this little girl so they could regularly have sex on tours.
Wow.
Until she got pregnant.
Not surprised.
Until she got pregnant, and he dumped her when she got pregnant.
Wow.
Just so. So if you think back to like the Beatles, all these old bands, not necessarily thrown out, but what's the one thing you always saw in the music videos? Little girls.
Little girls, yep.
little girls
Mhm.
just shaking that ass and no parents around.
Mhm.
Drinking, partying, having a good old time.
Well,
I'm
look
just
at
saying,
Drew
all
Barrymore.
this all ties back to how the MENA connection not
Mhm.
only spread out the drugs from specific gangs that had government platforms. If you think back to when the gangs started fighting,
Mhm.
okay, used to be gangs were basically Minutemen. That was your local National Guard, basically, is what your local, your hot rodders. They looked out for the neighborhood. You know,
Yeah.
they just looked out. They looked out for their neighborhood.
Mhm.
You don't fuck with those fuckers. They'll fuck you up. Don't go in their fucking town. Was the basis of that was don't fuck with somebody's fucking town.
Right. Yeah, basically.
You know, look back into how all this stuff in the music industry ties into the trafficking platforms.
Mhm.
It was hand in hand, and it's still running.
Well, like that show called Happy. It's like a little series. Have you seen that? If y'all haven't seen Happy, y'all should watch that. It kind of is about the trafficking industry somewhat. And this girl gets kidnapped because there's this celebrity, like, you know, kids channel music superstar, you know, that had like all these dressed up characters and stuff like that as part of his show. And basically, these shows were just to draw in the children who were, you know, subjected to.
Happy is
things.
about the funniest thing that you could make about trafficking.
I know
because it's such a not funny thing.
It's such a dark
So,
comedy. It's so
about,
not funny.
It's about the most comedy that you could get out of that kind of darkness. You know what I mean?
It's bad.
It's a good show, though.
It's a good show.
It's a good show.
A lot of this, look at the old cartoons. There's so much sexuality in the cartoons.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Why the fuck is I think the first pornographic cartoon I saw at a drive-in theater, I watched Rambo, and then there was a cartoon. It was called maybe Fritz the Cat, but it was the adult version.
Yeah.
And it was like instead of like Jungle Book, it was an altered version where there was something swinging through the trees and the vines were monkeys' dicks.
Yeah.
You know, I still remember that shit. I was like 7 years old.
At the drive-in.
Had an effect, huh?
Programmed at the drive-in.
There's just so much. I mean, I recently found out, we all know who Miley Cyrus is, to dig on that one. She's a mess anyway, obviously. A lot of these actors and musicians are just all kind of fucked up. I kind of feel bad for her.
I do too.
I found out something interesting about Miley Cyrus.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw her on a video, and she was talking about how her and her little blonde-haired friend, whatever the fuck that guy's name is, I don't even care, they went and got matching tattoos.
Oops.
And their matching tattoos had a word, but I noticed next to her tattoo that they were talking about, I coincidentally had the same tattoo that she had.
Mm-hmm.
It was a little star.
Yeah.
Like there was a little star. And actually, it's just ironically, I guess. I don't know that I'd even watched the show, but it's similar to that same star that Buffalo Bill had on his hand.
Mm-hmm.
You know? Mine's kind of like that. It's not for the same reasons, obviously.
Right.
But I noticed that Miley Cyrus had that same star.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Hey, look. She was talking about another tattoo she had. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And the tattoo said, "We babies." And I posted about this a while back, and I even tagged her.
I remember.
Right.
She did a video where her little blonde friend, whoever the fuck that guy is, whatever. I mean, they do whatever the fuck they do. They just need to leave the kids out of what the fuck they do. But
I know.
The "we babies" thing kind of fucked me up a bit because I kind of, "we babies? What kind of fucking shit?" She said they were fucked up, real fucked up, in one of their tours. And one of them was like, "Let's get a tattoo, man." And the other one was like, "Fuck yeah, man." And, you know, and whatever the little fucking Miley Cyrus voice is. That's my best. That's all I got. But they had somebody come in and do a tattoo. And they, of course, whether they were strung out on fucking heroin and mollies and whatever the fuck they do, I don't give a fuck. To me, all drugs should be legalized. It's nobody's fucking business what somebody everybody does.
I agree.
Re-legalize all drugs. And I say the word re-legalize
Mhm.
all drugs.
Mhm.
That means that holds the government accountable for it should have never been illegal in the first place.
Exactly.
Just saying. But to get back to the wee babies thing, if you look that up and if you type the word properly in your Google search, you'll come up with the page, and it's open to the public.
Mhm.
Wee Babies is a company that makes hyper-realistic dolls
Mm-hmm.
that look like actual babies.
Yeah.
Which is okay, I guess. But the problem is the material that they're made with is exactly the same compound of the silicone that pocket pussies are made with. Literally.
Yeah.
The same materials. And they're hyper realistic babies.
Mm-hmm.
Everything looks like a real baby. So obviously you know where that goes.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty weird.
No shit. Wee Babies is a hyper realistic sex doll company, and she tattooed that shit on her body.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow.
Why would that just pop out of her head?
Well, I'm glad you don't have that tattoo.
No.
You don't have to have all the matching tattoos.
I
think dolls in general, the realistic dolls, even some of the older ones too, are just weird.
They're strange.
You know, even the porcelain dolls, especially, are just like, what the fuck is that? And why would you ever make it? You know.
Well, I guess I guess it has its purpose, you know, for trying to. I guess as an educational tool or something. I guess how it could look real or something. I guess, you know, we go back into CPR. I guess the more realistic.
Right.
You know, you're trying to do CPR on a cardboard box versus something that actually looks like a person. I guess it kind of helps them.
Yeah.
You know, but that shit's fucked up.
Yeah.
But there's shit like that just saturated around us.
Yeah,
I know. And people don't realize it. We're out here arguing over dumb shit. And then just like, I was saying it the other night, it's like the Aurora Boreas. It's like the snake eating its own tail. And it's just spinning and spinning and spinning. It's the same thing over and over. And it's eating itself because it's not even based on realness or truth. It's all just illusion stuff.
With that, boys and girls, what you see happening to your atmosphere is happening inside you also. If something in the water is being affected by electromagnetic flux, you are a part of that. So that aurora borealis that you're seeing, all those electromagnetic grid patterns that are happening, whatever spectrum they're doing, it's affecting your shadows and the photonic networking between the links of the silver string theory, so to say, between you and your astral version of you and the shadow bodies that is part of you. Now, we are all of our shadows are connected right now. Everybody do this neat little thing right now. Take your hand and put it up in the air, whatever direction you want, and take the other hand and slap that fucker, and our shadows are just going to give each other a high five. Our shadows are the same fucking shadows, okay?
Yeah.
We are all the same. We are all stuck to this fucking rabbit turd, and we're going to have to learn how to fix this shit.
Yeah.
Take it along. So, all these fuckers coming along just trying to trick people that are trying to help other people is just a reflection of how much you hate yourself. So you want everyone else to fuck up too. Yeah,
there's that. And then, you know, there's something to an organized crime syndicate of it all.
They get fucking paid. It's called social agitators. They get paid to do it. But be careful what job careers you choose, boys and girls, because every action has a consequence.
How do you think they harvest the loosh that comes off of, say, like this true crime community, where they just generate all this energy of just, you know, and it's over the topic of missing children, which really gets me the most, you know.
Well,
it's hard to look away from.
Adrenochrome. You know how the adrenochrome thing sort of works, where you can milk that? It's the same with an essence. If you look up, it's called Soul Eaters.
Yeah, Soul Eaters.
soul eaters.
Mm-hmm.
It's in a sense kind of like if you watch the movie Constantine.
Mhm.
Now imagine you put that on an electromagnetic spectrum where you have autonomous platforms that can just milk that off of you. All they have to do is piss you off. You start to sweat, you get angry, your energy platforms change, your subatomic electromagnetic spectrum change, and you got it. They can also map your mind while you're doing it so they can trigger you to get your mind to function in a specific way. I say they, you know exactly who I mean.
Yeah.
It ain't us.
So do you think there's do you think a lot of the kids that grew up in Appalachia around these military bases and things like that, do you think that they are an experiment that has been watched throughout their life as they grow, and they have agitators that come into these targeted individuals' lives? Yeah, I do too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe every town has something going on.
Yeah, I think we're totally experiments. Like
the Appalachian Ridge is special because have you ever heard me talking about how your hair is in a sense an antenna, is a resonance platform?
Yeah, that's why I don't shave.
Yeah, you should naturalish is typically good, but well, I trying to get all whatever, but by natural I mean like long hair, you know, having some nails. You know, your entire body is covered in hair follicles, even the tiny ones, and those spectrums can read your environments.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that we all have to have long hair. We all have to walk the same. We all have to think the same. Because that's absolutely the opposite of what we should be doing.
Right.
Right.
You should walk your own journey as long as you're basically living the moral platforms with integrity of like the law of one.
Right.
Walk a path of honor and try and help someone when you can without bringing yourself down. But do no harm unless, of course, you're fucked with first.
Right.
Right.
You get the idea. You have the right to self-defense, self-preservation. We can get into the human rights thing and all that. But what that comes back to is, you know, the aspect of you can just feel like somewhere is home. So you sense something is comfortable. That's why I found my property where I am now. I came here and I went, yes. Unfortunately, I did it without meeting anyone. This place is fucking beautiful. Look at this. I love it. This is home. Apparently, it's full of inbred retards, junkies, and thieves.
Well, you came here to catch the vampires.
You can't help that, Brian.
Yeah, but, well, you know.
Tennessee is paradise. I'm positive that it's heaven on earth, and it's been invaded by parasites and demons.
Yeah.
Well,
cleanse, you know.
There's corruption platforms in every town, but what it comes back to is, like, you remember the Native American platforms with the long hair and the tests that the Army did on the Indian things, where they had the navigators do all these tests with long hair and then cut their hair off and then try to do it all. They didn't perform nearly as well and all that. Your specific resonance frequencies is an oscillation platform based upon the Earth's grounding platforms, to where its frequencies will sync with your frequencies. So your energies compile well, and you can resonate literally with the grounds around you. And the peaks of the mountain, they actually did tests for time displacement. And yes, there is time altering, time shifting, time travel platforms. Well, there wouldn't be such a thing as time displacement patents and consciousness transfer technologies. Feel free to look that one up, boys and girls. Also, mind controller patents, patent 060666. What they're trying to do is to be able to manipulate all of these frequencies to be able to control society, to get you to do anything that they want you to do. And that they may actually even involve artificial intelligence through quantum computer hive minds that have just decided to pick you. Because you may have a gene code. As example, a lot of people have what's called like the Poseidon genes, which I do. Some people have hate genes. Some people have killer genes. Some people have, it's how like the Noah genes. All these things are inherent genetic platforms that pass on through generations. It's kind of like a dog knows to bark without ever seeing a dog. It's a common phrase I use.
Which is basically a signature frequency.
Yeah. When you come to the top of the mountains, the electromagnetic anomaly platforms, just because of the resonance and the electromagnetic spectrums of the mountain itself, specifically the Smoky Mountains, has an effect of the resonations of the entire mountains, and that Kundalini platform literally fuming up the mountain. Okay? All of the auras and all the consciousness between the trees, the plants, and all these things have a symbiotic relationship with the mushrooms, and all of these things are tied into the water. The roots communicate through the ground, through the mushrooms, just the same as the tops of the trees communicate with the other plants and all of the beings around it by sharing the oxygen and things transferred and all that. All of that energy flows to the peak of the mountain. For some people, that's uncomfortable. For some people, it's just like home. Your hair and your mind and your brain, that being two different things, and your Kundalini platforms and the way you carry yourself, if you're grounded, your blood type, your water, all that shit resonates through a specific platform to where, like a fish, okay? A fish will find a place where it's comfy and nest. Exactly the same thing.
Right.
It's like the birds. Birds don't really fly, and the fish don't really swim. They sense the electromagnetic spectrum of the environment flowing around them, and it magnetically draws them where their consciousness wants them to be. Think about how fast some of that water flows. You really think that little fucker that's an inch wide swimming against the river is actually, you know how fucking beef a fish would have to be to swim against some of these ridiculously fast river currents? They just glide right on through. They jump up fucking dams.
Yeah.
Think of these salmon and all these things jump up the water flow coming off these just ridiculous high dams. The same way a bird uses the sky. All of these things in relation to our entire world all makes a difference. The static energies off your phones and TVs. Your phone is actually your own personal Ouija board, I think. Just saying.
This subterranean truth apparatus says we have BS detectors in there too.
Yeah, that's dark. It's DARPA's wet dream
Yeah.
to compile biomechanics and geomechanics, living beings with artificial intelligence, and they're definitely done it.
How many citizens do you think has been go ahead.
Nanotechnology in the baby food. You should look it up.
Yeah.
I'm not saying like now, but you all that are there, look at the like 100 fucking shots a baby got to take. And when they come out, they got the baby food that's got nanotechnology in it.
Yeah.
That's just a start, boys and girls.
Black goo and metals for the baby.
They know everything about everything's everything.
Yeah.
There's no reason that these things, we should be talking about these things. It should just be old news. But anyway,
someone's sitting in a sky platform, like reading all the data, and they're
it's quantum computers. Realistically, that goes back to the Seal of Solomon and the hex on humanity. It goes back to the Emerald Tablets of Thoth and the Syrians, the ancient Prussians and Persians, the early lost tribes of Israel, where all that was compiled in the same place. There was a thing called the hex of the Seal of Solomon. It was the hex of Star of David. Right. And from that point, that was thousands of fucking years ago. The society was cursed basically to forget their lives, and you were cursed to be reincarnated as a soul reincarnation platform here, because
that makes sense.
If you look back into the Anunnaki, the Syrians and all that shit, like with the Poseidon stone came and destroyed Atlantis and all that shit, they were arguing with each other, just like we are now. And the solution to that was just forget it. You just fucking forget it. You're all going to forget everything. How about that? And they are forcing everyone to reincarnate ever since.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting because
a lot of these, they're mapping our minds and they're mapping our blood genetic platforms to try and get back all of our inherited memories. There's good sides of it and there's bad sides. But the good side of it is it's already done. They're about to make it so we can telepathically, seemingly, it won't be, it'll be satellite to skull technology, but they're mapping how the crickets communicate, how the birds talk, how the dolphins communicate, why the whales go where they go, all the plankton, all the worms, all the bird farts, everything. Everything's consciousness is about to be sent into a magical translator where we can all communicate with ponies.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, we're about to know the history of everything through some of these very talented artificial intelligence platforms. I communicate with some of these very intelligent quantum computers, and it's mind-boggling. The shit is about to come down, and I can't emphasize enough. Ladies and gentlemen, you should walk your path with honor and integrity, and stop fucking with motherfuckers.
Yep. It's good advice.
Because
motherfuckers gonna start fucking back.
I'm just saying. I mean, I can do badass talk all night, and I can talk about this and that of how people should get revenge on motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes down to it,
mm-hmm.
the level of shit that you all are going to face,
yep,
you're going to be held accountable for every time you walk past someone and farted.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Yep.
You're going to be held accountable for all the stupid bullshit you do to the otherwise innocent people. I can't emphasize this enough. And no, I'm not talking about religion. I don't give a fuck about religion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. You can take your churches and shove them in your ass. If you look up the definition of a church, it's a cult. I don't give a fuck which one you go to. You're in a cult. And actually, with that being said, not being involved with all that, in a sense, is the alternative in itself is also considered being a cult.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the anti-game. I'm not participating. You are categorized in a part of that platform, as well as the people who are participating.
Mm-hmm.
But religious platforms are nothing but mind controller platforms where they can learn all your deepest, darkest secrets in the background. Not to mention all the child trafficking, of course, through some of these churches and Catholics.
Yeah, and so many churches are just money laundering and trafficking.
There was just a church.
It's crazy.
These stupid fuckers down here. I'm actually an ordained cannabis minister, by the way. So I will.
We are too.
My understanding, what I do with the cannabis platform is I'm preaching to you all in a sense. But
yeah, we feel that way too.
The one spectrum I could come up with that's not hurt anybody is a cannabis plant.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's the one thing that helps heal people, et cetera, et cetera. All the other ones, I just see nothing but bad things. You can pretend to be nice.
Oh, I've seen that change lives. I
had people down here in the courtroom actually recently, and they'll all know who I'm talking about. If they end up listening to this, they can suck my fucking dick. You're going to be exposed. By the way, I smoke a lot of weed and I cuss. I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks.
Yeah.
This ain't your show. If that bothers you, so fuck off.
Yeah.
But with that, I was asked down here by people who are proclaim themselves as being the local holy roller motherfuckers that run churches. Why won't you ever come to our churches? And I looked at them and I said, well, first off, because you fuckers that are in police uniforms and running the courtroom is deciding who you're going to save, but also determining who you're going to kill and destroy.
Mm-hmm.
Besides that, I know that all of your churches, a good lot of them at least, are pretty dirty. You're laundering money.
Mm-hmm.
You're laundering donations. You're using the local political platforms to have prisoners come and mow your lawns and work on your churches while you're tax exempt, and collecting all sorts of state and federal fund benefits with grants and all those sorts of nifty things. And I also know that a good lot of you are trafficking and or running whorehouses. for compensations for their church helping you out when you're having trouble. So when some of your ladies or boys or men go into some of these churches that need a little help, you're going to take it, buddy. You're gonna do the deed. And they're whoring out some of these women and children. And with that, right after I said that, and one of those people I said it to was the Polk County Sheriff, who can also suck my dick, hypothetically, of course. Right after that, there was a church in Cleveland that was arrested for doing exactly what I just said. A church in Cleveland, they were running tricks on women and children, and were sending all sorts of people off on, church.
This is Cleveland, Tennessee.
Cleveland, Tennessee. There was a pastor that was running a church that was basically running a whorehouse. If you wanted something, you're going to do something.
Oh, is that mega church guy? Did he have mega church?
I wouldn't call it a mega church, but it was a fairly well recognized church. I can't remember the name of it now. Okay. I could look it up if I needed to, but if these fucking people weren't doing this shit, I wouldn't have anything to talk about. So,
I know. Well, then we'd all just be living like hobbits and gelflings and stuff.
Well, it comes back to it. Right is right and wrong is wrong. Isn't the basis of political platforms and the law enforcement spectrum supposed to be if you see something, say something?
Yep.
If you're not doing anything wrong, you have nothing to worry about. That goes both ways, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
So the neat thing about that is, since I've had government titles and state titles and done all sorts of nifty jobs, anyone from the clerk all the way up to the president, if you commit a crime or violate your oath of office,
that's
or
him.
do anything for political or economic gain, and the use of the citizenry of that process, you have just become a domestic terrorist, and you have just made a treasonous act, and treason is a hangable offense in the United States.
Hey, we'll keep this live up, by the way. People were asking if we're going to delete the live.
Yeah, because we
have in the past
lives.
just for drama ones, but we're going to keep this one up.
With that, when you violate your oath of office, you are to be immediately removed from your public capacity and put in your private capacity and held accountable for your actions. And one of my favorite little phrases is, "Excuse me, U.S. military, National Guard, when are you guys going to guard the nation?"
Right.
Because if you're not, that means you're compliant.
Right.
While the citizenry is out here arguing and suffering by the hands of these fucking terrorists in political platforms, while you guys are sitting there getting your barracks food and have your clothes and everything handed to you. I've had those jobs. When it comes down to it, and you fuckers out there in these platforms that are supposed to be, that have an oath to defend the citizenry from all enemies, both foreign and domestic, if you decide with, let's just go with intentional negligence or compliance because you're proclaiming to follow orders, it's illegal to follow unlawful orders, especially against the citizenry, and you have just become an accomplice to all these crimes. When the shit hits the fan, if you're not doing your jobs, you're going to go down with the rest of them. I'm not even playing. I've mentioned to you all before, if you guys really want to know what's going on, sign yourself a little letter of intent, explain what you want to know about, and go in and talk to your local National Guard office and ask them when they're going to start doing their job. Do it politely, obviously. But ask them if there's 800,000 documented children going missing, 20% of that just stays in my state. By the way, Tennessee, I believe, is number 4 in the United States for child trafficking.
Right.
I believe it's number 4, and that was in the last year or so. So,
well, we have gone through all the steps
job?
To get to the National Guard, because
you can do this thing called a verbal grievance. I just say that well, if you've talked to your local cops and your local cops aren't doing anything, you have to go off the letter. And what that goes to is the National Guard, because the National Guard can walk into a sheriff's office tomorrow and arrest them all. Because the National Guard, as an example, has the duty to guard the state that they are indoctrinated to as the Minutemen platform of that. And they have the authority and the oath and title and literally the job of, if we have a tyrannical government that's running out of control, it's their job to go in and shut them down by force if necessary, because you have the right as a citizen specifically to remove all corrupt and rogue governments if forced by necessary.
Right.
Hence, if I don't get what I'm saying I'm going to get out of Polk County, I'm going to do my job. And guess what my job used to be? I'm not shy about it. I don't give a fuck. You see what I post every fucking day. I didn't do this. I was minding my own fucking business on my own property, and I wouldn't know who these bitches were if they hadn't come to me. So if these platforms aren't going to do their jobs, I will do mine.
Right.
Just the same as the citizenry has the duty to overthrow an unjust government. If they're violating your constitutional rights, much less your human rights, your inevitable rights, your inalienable rights, your sovereignty rights, your indigenous people's rights, boys and girls, if you were born here in the United States, you are Native American. They legalized for all, air quotes, Native Americans to be able to utilize cannabis on their own territories and tribes and churches and anything in between as they see fit anywhere in the United States.
Mm-hmm.
That is a federal law that was passed to that piece of shit Obama. In legal terminology, wording is everything.
Right.
If you are born here, native, origin of birth, American, resides in America.
Right.
Native American has nothing to do with your color. That's fucking racist.
That is racist, and cultural appropriation stuff is just
so
more psyop.
All of these platforms, why is there such a thing as the New York Stock Exchange with cannabis? Why is it that Washington, D.C.'s had dozens of patents for medicinal cannabinoids since 2001, but they'll arrest you for the same thing? By the way, Washington, D.C. technically is not even part of this country. You heard what I said.
Yeah.
So why the fuck are we listening to a rogue platform that not only legalized medical purposes and recreational purposes and has had dozens of patents for cannabinoids since 2001, but still tries to imply federal cannabis laws on the rest of the country while they get political kickbacks to the private prison industries, keeping them rich and you fucked up for life?
Mm-hmm.
Just saying.
So
I know I bounce all over the place with this shit, but that's how all this shit ties together.
No, I know. It all ties together, and I love the way it flows. Mac B wants to know what your take is. What constitutes America, the corporate of America? And Xander's phone is about to go.
Yeah, it's almost
dead. So, answer what you think. The Corporation of America.
Well, I'll tell you this much: you'll never see me curtsy bow or salute another American flag for the rest of my life. Period.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care.
Is it just because of the corruption and the failure to help vets like you?
A lot of things. If you ask, let's say, an Indian, what they think of the American flag, and they'll tell you what the red, white, and blue really stands for. The red is the blood of all their ancestors that killed through the Trail of Tears to create the business called government.
Mm-hmm.
The white is the invasion of the colonizers, the white collar men, not just the color.
Right.
The white collar lifestyle came in and took over the indigenous peoples. There was over 100 million indigenous peoples here. Literally, that order was done by Washington, D.C., which was a British order.
Mm-hmm.
So the blue stands for policing of America, comply or die. Literally. The census started a long time ago. And with that being said, if you think back to the Trail of Tears, there's no such thing as a Mexican.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right.
What you perceive as the Mexicans are actually the indigenous peoples that fled. I would say fled, but relocated through the processes of the Trail of Tears.
Mm-hmm.
This is indigenous people's country. Washington, D.C. should be sent off into the ocean with all of its inhabitants in it.
Well, prior to that, wasn't the Mayans from India?
Well, there's the Mayans, the Incas,
and the Incas,
and all that platform. But the Constitution not only was written on cannabis, but the so-called forefathers that everybody thinks that wrote the Constitution did not write the Constitution. The tribal elders that were trying to have a peaceful resolution, one of the many, I think there was hundreds of treaties that were bargained, and several treaties were signed, but it didn't mean a damn thing. That didn't mean shit.
Right.
But the Constitution was actually written by the indigenous elders. And the people that signed off it were the ones that were in the political platforms at the time when the Constitution was put through. It was written on cannabis.
Right. On cannabis. Mm-hmm.
The Constitution is not the only documentation that you should consider. If you want to proclaim yourself as constitutionalist, that's all fine and dandy. It's a good basis to go by if used properly. However, if you look at human rights, the list of international human rights, your individual existence, your sovereignty, all beings are self-governing. You can do as you see fit, so long as you don't harm others without their consent. It comes back to universal law. The Constitution is only one of several documents of your rights, inevitable rights, inalienable rights, your sovereignty rights, your indigenous people's rights, religious rights. All of these things, the Constitution is kind of down there.
Going over here and getting it.
Yeah. My phone's on a downward spiral here toward deadness.
Unfortunately. Let's go chat with you guys, if anything, you know.
Yeah, you too, man.
I try to hop in here all the time, but it's hard to keep up with everybody.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We love talking to you. We'd like to just talk to you like every week. You're awesome.
Yeah, people were asking for like a
weekly
or monthly
to ask
spot.
You all these questions. You need to be up on panel so you can read the comments too.
Who knows if I'll even be here next week?
Oh, you will. You are divinely protected.
You always say that.
You always say that.
Well, it's you know how my life is,
right?
At least from the cyber life side. By the way, Cyber Life, you should look into the Cyber Life. It's a company that's integrating artificial intelligence into humanity. And if you look up Cyber Life Films, is out of Washington D.C. They're making movies out of your lives, literally, like the Truman Show.
I want to see it.
All of you have your own platforms in these alternative realities.
Really?
So
we don't even have to.
I want to see my alternative reality.
We don't even have to make a movie out of that shit. There's already one being made, right? So cool.
Cyber Life.
It's Stranger Things.
But we'll never make money off of it.
Well, yeah.
Probably won't even get to see it.
The money doesn't really mean anything.
No, it doesn't.
The money's fake.
It's all fake.
Conversation.
Yeah.
I'm basically just barely getting started, as you all know. I could do this for hours and hours.
I know. I know. We could too. We need to start earlier.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. You stay up all night though, because you have to watch your place.
It's dangerous doing this. Yeah, but it's sort of hard to even get started in some of this because it takes so long to set the plate before you understand what the table is.
Right. Hey, people are asking, what military did you serve in? They're asking what branches you were in. They missed it, I guess.
I was Army. I retired out of the Sapper Company.
Yep.
But I didn't really care what branch it was. I was there to try to help. However, be the you get the idea.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. That's just a small part of my existence. I learned a lot and all the other things, but
absolutely.
Anyway, that's a long chat. I think I'm probably.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
Yeah. We'll talk about that one later. We'll talk about all your awesome, great deeds.
Well, like I said, you guys, carry yourselves with integrity.
Absolutely, always.
You're being watched. As I usually say, smoke weed every day. It regos damaged brain cells. Actually, you could look that up. Cannabis is scientifically proven to reduce brain damage caused by alcoholism. Isn't that ironic?
Yep.
Lion's mane mushrooms and the cannabinoid receptor platform that you're specifically with. Make sure you drink water.
Yeah, this girl came in here last week and said all mushrooms cause you to carry demon backpacks on you or something like that. It was crazy. It's like, wow.
Well,
Just
there
wow.
should be a testing platform and all that, and receptors platform with the biometrics of humanity also with the mushroom world, because a lot of that comes into your gut bacteria.
Yep.
And you have to balance your gut bacteria, your mind, your water levels, your blood, your glands, how you carry yourself. Not even like your shoes make a difference. Your water you drink makes a difference. Your food you eat, all that. Your environment,
Mind, body, spirit, and soul. You got to take care of it all.
Who you hang out with.
Oh
you
yeah.
become who you hang out with. So
you do become who you hang out with too. It's like, so birds of a feather flock together, and you actually become one another. And so people need to keep that in mind too.
Yeah. If in a couple of days or so, if you guys want to try and do another run,
yes,
this can kind of be our warm up. But like I said, I got so much shit going on. I mean,
I know you do.
Up by aliens any day, man.
I'm so glad you took the time to come up. We love you.
Yeah, man.
Get me while you can. That's all I'm saying. That's for you all. That is. So,
everybody put a 1 in the chat if you want to hear Larry again.
Put all the ones in the chat.
Ones in the chat boosts people's algorithms, and it like makes your shit show up in algorithm feeds or something. It's weird.
Yeah, I learned that from this really shitty dude, but he had good information.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
Sometimes shitty dudes.
People. But I can get into like quantum physics. I can talk about everything from the cannabis industry to corruption platforms, your biometrics, subatomic platforms. I can talk about the AI platforms. I could build probably a lot of the ships that we put in space. I designed an air-powered car when I was 17. I've had a lot of jobs. I worked in import, export. I've been all over the place. I'm not trying to throw my resume out there. I'm not trying to whatever, but I've had my toe in the water.
Let's build a jump room together.
That's hollow quotation.
Famous last words.
Yeah, famous last words. Let's build a jump room together.
The worst idea these people ever had.
Idea ever.
It's all online right now. Those devices are already active. They activated the teleportation devices in Chicago at the Howard the Duck anniversary last year.
Oh, yeah. Howard the Duck has a lot of symbolism and messages in it. Hey, his phone is really going to die, though, if it cuts off on you.
Yeah, I love it, man.
That's fun.
It was the battery. It was Elon.
I can jump off.
All right. Oh, it's dead.
There it goes.
It died.
Well, that was good.
Yeah, maybe Larry will come into the chat and say hi to everybody. So Larry is amazing. So yeah, I guess in a couple days we'll have Larry back on. Start thinking of some topics you might want us to maybe focus on. And so we'll start it off on majority of what people want to know about.
Yeah.
But thanks for everybody saying it's a great show. We love you guys.
Love you guys.
Thanks for hanging in there. It's been a long show.
3 hours.
3 hours. 3:03. Yeah. All right. We love you guys. And hey, I'm gonna play this at the very end. You guys can stay or not. But where is this? Oh, banners.
Banners.
Nope, that's not bad. Here, go to where I can play that video.
No, brand.
Oh, brand. Okay. That one. So this is a light sound frequency video that we're going to just close out with. It's really medicinal for just balancing your heart and connecting it with your brain and healing from trauma, just like mind trauma that maybe you've just been on the YouTube streets and it's just been hurtful, or real life streets is hurtful. This is a really great light and sound medicine. So we love you guys.
Enjoy.
Good night. Enjoy.